Bink. There you go. We should be on air now. Hello, gang. Colin here, Festa 67's workshop, and Fox the Guru. And welcome to a eModels Workbench Live. Yes, folks, Workbench Live on a Wednesday for the lovely folks up in the top right corner there. eModels.co.uk. Go on, do your little sentence.
Your one-stop shop. Why am I talking to the camera and not the microphone? Your one-stop shop. Hang on. Your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. ASMR, bit of ASMR for you.
He had one job, folks. One job. Yes,
Your
the
one-stop
wonderful
shop.
folks at eModels. We are currently doing baneblade. Yes, folks, we are doing the Warhammer baneblade because if you don't know, eModels do stock Games Workshop stuff. They can order it in for you.
They do.
Fox is going to be branching off and doing Warhammer work for them, so it's a good opportunity for us to do a bit of baneblade madness, mate, innit? And
Plus, it is the best model in the world ever. So
absolutely. So before we get too far engrossed, let's have a quick scroll up and have a looky-loo who's in the
do
chat.
you realise what you just said?
I did, mate. We got myself and Fox were in. We got Atoll, not good. He says it's blowing and ooly and rain showers, but Beth and I are happy as on her new garden, you guardian. Did he say garden then? He says, what's new? He says, me being me. He says, now new, mate, just us idiots. Then he tells me off. Why you always want to put yourselves down? Think positive, you're alive.
It's a joke.
Oh, it's a joke, mate. And with my situation, I think I do think positive because I'm always gooning around despite what life throws at me, mate. Yeah. We are.
Humour, it is a difficult concept.
We are 5.5, mate, but we love living life, don't we, Fox? But anyway, we're rambling. He says, remember, Fox, your promise to dig a hole in the garden and bury them outdated tins.
I might have to confuse future archaeologists.
Well, you never know. If they start growing, does that mean they'll be sprouting up? Moving on.
I really wish I could do a cricket sound.
Kevin Stevens is in saying hello, Colin and Fox.
Hey,
hello, Kevin. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you in, fella. Graham McRobert is in. Hello, Geez. How you doing, mate?
Hey,
he
Graham.
says he's finally free from YouTube jail. Why have you been in YouTube jail, Graham? What you done? Kevin, thank you so much. He says audio and video, he says, is very good. He knew what I was going to ask, didn't he?
He did.
We always like to ask whether AMV is good because we like to know that we're transmitting out fine. So thanks for that, Kevin.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Don't forget, folks, belly, bench and beverage. What's on your bench? What is in your belly? What is your beverage of choice? By all means, ask us anything, because I'll just pass all the answers over to Fox, because he's a guru.
Because I never shut up.
Yeah, just feel free to yatter away and ask us anything and chat about whatever's going on in your particular area. What's on your bench, what you're up to, because we are nosy, and it's always going to be more interested than what us two are doing. Yeah,
and don't forget, of course, if you can't see the live chat, you need to make sure you're watching us on YouTube's.
Absolutely.
So make sure if you're watching us embedded somewhere else, click the YouTube icon on the bottom right-hand corner of the video, and it will insta-magically take you to YouTube where you can carry on watching and join the live chat. And we've got the chat in front of us. Make sure you keep it clean in chat. This is a family-friendly show for eModels, so no rudeness in chat. And please don't discuss other model retailers because it is a show for eModels.
Yeah, and
your one-stop shop.
You will get a finger of shame.
For all your model making needs.
So anyway, mate, how's you?
Yes.
How's your mum?
Yes.
And, you know,
all good.
We're bright and early and back on time. I mean, some of us have stayed up from the night before because I knew if I went and had a lay down, I might not move for a while. So I decided to stay up. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. All doing well. All doing well. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I'm currently sweating cobs because it's hundreds of degrees in here.
Yeah.
But earlier on, I opened my window, and the moment I opened my window, my neighbour, who's doing some kind of building work, got his circular saw out making loads of noise, so I had to close the window. Now,
You're
he's
being
not been doing it
stalked
since then.
by him, aren't you? Because every time he sees your window open, he starts a tool up, doesn't he? It's just like brilliant.
Or every time I think, I'll have a bit of a lie-in. Oh.
Yeah.
But then the moment I close the window, he stopped doing it. So I've opened the window again on the off chance. So we'll see.
What are you up to with your baneblade today, mate?
I am about to, if I can find them. You've already done yours, but I need to make the fuel barrels that go on the back of the Ethereum. I think it's Promethium they use. That goes on the back of the track.
Yeah, there you go,
To do them. Yep.
And
I've got to make like you did.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It reminds me of the cover to Jean-Michel Jarre's Equinox.
Yeah.
I need to do the little plastic inserts that go over the edge because they have the world's worst seam line on them.
Yeah.
Which we need to deal with.
Well,
so I shall be doing that today.
Someone grassed him up to YouTube about what I said. Oh, well, I won't ask you what you said, Graham, because I don't want to get you in trouble, mate. But PM me, mate, and let me know all about it, because I'll be curious on that, mate, because, I don't... YouTube Jow? No, I've not heard of YouTube Jow before.
No,
Unless he means Facebook Jow. Could be Facebook Jow.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, because YouTube, unless you make content that goes against their rules, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Unless somebody just blocks you from their channel. I think I might do the floor first, actually.
Oh, you're going for floorage?
I might do my floor for the track units first.
Yeah, don't you need a big, straight, flat surface and all of that garbage? I know you're quite particular there, aren't you?
Yes, well, I'm thinking because you've got to glue the floor halves together, and then I might as well do that, and then I've got time to build the barrels, and then it'll all dry by then. So I'll do the floor first,
Athol's
actually.
belly, he says, he's growling, soon to be fed with club sandwiches and tomato soup, bench, Regal Raven Space Marines ready for decals. A beverage is a big mug of green tea. Graham says you'll laugh about what it's all about. All right then, Graham. Well, as long as you see the funny side of it, mate. Because
So that one.
Yeah, I've got the floor to do. I'll be getting my weapon out, my tool out.
Wait, let me show you my big tool.
Yeah, I should be getting my what are they called? Bolt maker. My RP tools bolt.
Oh yeah.
Tool out at some point.
I need to make you some hex nuts, don't I?
You've got rivets. I've got the hex nuts.
Oh yeah, sorry. I need to make some rivets, don't I? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. How am I doing? I'm doing the baneblade, aren't I? So baneblade. It is the baneblade. So I need to use that.
I'm doing the shadow sword. I do believe it's called
shadow sword.
That variant is... Where is it? That one. It's the one that I'm doing. The shadow sword. Big boomstick and a pair of turrets, sponsors of the turrets, and so that's what I'm doing.
Because you've got the instructions. Will you show them my baneblade?
You're doing a regular baneblade, are you, mate?
Yes. Yeah,
Which is the top one. There you go. He's doing that one.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm doing that one.
Is what Fox is up to.
I figured I may as well. If you're doing a funky one, I'll do the standard.
That's all right, mate. Build what you want, mate.
No. Because I want people to see what the normal baneblade looks like, so they can see the difference.
Yeah.
Right. So let's get some building done. Right. So yeah, I'll do the floor first because then I can get the floor setting and gluing while I'm doing the barrels.
That's a good shout, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have.
And I do.
Yeah.
And I do love the fact, I'll show you in a minute, but I do love the fact they give you 2 bits of plastic to glue the floor parts together. And keep them straight,
I've got them there.
Little strips. Because when I first built this, I thought, oh, I'm going to use some plastic sprue to keep it. Oh, no, wait, they actually give you a bit of what is basically sprue. I like that. Right, so I need to cut this piece off. Anyway, how are you, my friend? You've asked me how I am. How are you doing?
I'm fine, mate. Yeah, a bit of a blip last week, as you know, but... so we've missed a couple of these, so apologies to anyone that's tuned in and not seen us both, but real life got in the way again. But and it's my first week really of a full streaming schedule. I want to get back to things as quickly as possible because yeah, I'm getting fed up with laying upstairs. I'm getting sick of it, to be honest.
It's a bit boring.
So, yeah. So, yeah, it's nice to be doing something at the bench again, mate.
It's good to have you back at the bench, buddy.
Yeah.
I've missed my little idiot brother.
Yeah, we do cause a little bit of chaos, don't we?
Mind you, if you're my idiot brother, what does that make me to you? Oh, I don't know. Who's the fool? The fool or the fool who follows him? Who's the bigger fool?
Yeah, H says you two are just a pair of idiots. It's like, yeah, you've got us both sus then.
Yeah, we're both like 4.5 years old.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I'm 7 3/4, but only when I'm falling out of a tree.
Yeah, she just looks at me and goes, really? How old are you? Like, I don't ask me that. Like, you'll be disappointed with the answer.
And the thing is, you have to be the big brother anyway, because you had the chopper and the grifter. I never had the grifter or the chopper.
Yeah.
So I can't be the big brother.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to build the floor section, which is this bit here, you see?
Oh, good, man.
Which is 2 bits go together, and then the floor. And it just means then I've got everything laid out nice and the floor can set.
Well, that's what I'm going to do, actually, because it can set whilst I'm doing the turret thing.
Yeah. But this is where it gets. This is where you need your flat surface again.
Oh,
So
yeah, I've got my
glass.
3D printer bed next to me, so I'm lucky because it's glass.
I've got this wonderful like flat workstation thing that I put on my slightly not flat bench, and because it's not flat, it's still not flat. So I've got my glass cutting board for absolute flatness. So let's get some clean up there. Let's do some clean up.
Getting this stage right is really important.
Yeah, I mean this is where you find out exactly how well you built your track units. Now thankfully with the floor you can't really go too wrong because it locks into place, but you really do find out how well you did the track units. If the tracks on the track units aren't quite vertical, then you find out at this point. Yeah. That's when you think, right, I shall make it in a diorama and I'll put a rock under the track. I'll make the ground come up to the track.
Absolutely. That's the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
Hides a multitude of sins.
Oh yeah.
We don't make mistakes, folks. We have happy accidents.
We have calculated errors to show you the error of our ways. We do things wrong so you don't have to.
Yeah.
I like the way that sounds.
Absolutely. It does happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am thinking of a little base for this, to be honest with you.
I mean, if you're building one of these to play in the game, it doesn't come with a base. You don't put it on a base.
Yeah.
It's a non-based game piece. But if you're just building it as a model, then
it's knowing what eModels want to do with it. I don't know whether they're gonna, how they want to display them or what, you know. So
they'll stick it on a shelf, and there you go in the display cabinet.
Yeah.
So yeah, stick it on Dio if you want. Makes it harder to ship to them, of course.
Well, I'm going to be sending them up in a box anyway, so...
Yeah, but how do you pack a diorama that's got height and width and wobbly bits?
It's not going to be a massive diorama, mate.
Ah, there you go.
Not that dark.
When I did that...
Give me some
credit. When I did that Imperial Skitter thing for them, that had like the landscape and the rocks and the trees and stuff, I'm like, I'm going to have to just physically take this, aren't I?
Oh, yeah, the only reason the cat had a diorama is because it was going in the car with me holding it. So, other than that, yeah. I will be back on shot in a sec, folks. It's just I needed to get my eyes of seeingness to see what I was doing.
To see what she could see. An old man went to... Never mind. God, that was like one of them... That's like one of them playground counting things, isn't it? To find out who's in and ticky or something.
Oh, yeah.
An old man went to CCC. I've just remembered it now. To see what he could CCC. And all that he could CCC was the bottom of the deep blue sea.
Yeah, God, yeah. Yeah, I can remember that. Blimey.
Now, what amazed me was I had a memory the other day of like being at primary school This is in the 70s.
Yeah.
And every day at playtime, you'd always see this in the playground. A big long line of kids, all with their arms joined, arms linked.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, all join up for Tiki or Tag, or whatever you wanted to call that particular game.
Yeah.
All join. And it was always, they always sang that, all join up for whatever the game was.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And I looked it up on Google, and it turns out other places in Britain did the same song.
Isn't it?
It's like, wow, how did the kids in different schools all know the same little routine?
It's ironic when you think back, when you're reminiscing with people that are of the same age. Like you say, all over the country, we all went through the same regiments of routines and.
But it's like,
isn't it?
It's like, you know, when I was a kid in the 70s, we only knew the kids that we went to school with, and there was no internet. So how did all the kids in different schools in the area all have the same playground traditions?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand that at all.
Where did it come from? Where did it all originate from?
Yeah.
Makes
How
you
was this
wonder.
information passed on? And was it like, you know, the one kid that went from one school and then moved house and passed all this, but then he had to be popular enough to pass the games on to the other kids?
Yeah.
I don't understand how these things migrated.
Well, this is it, because, you know, we didn't have, as you say, we didn't have the internet. Social media was going over the park and playing football. You was either shirts or skins, weren't you? You know, it's...
Yeah, and you only knew really the kids on your street and maybe from a little bit around
Yeah.
from school. It was very rare that you played out, that's a phrase. You played out.
Yeah. You're going out.
Very rare. Yeah, you knock on the door. Hi, Mr. Smith, is Dave playing out today?
Yeah. Right, that's that settling in over there. I'll leave that to dry. And it's literally just off shot to me left on me 3D printer glass bed. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
you're rattling through, aren't you? Right, I've got them done.
It's one of them, innit? It's because
It's not particularly...
Yeah, because I'm not doing an insane blade type build. It's actually, for me, quite a straightforward, easy build that I'm doing. So
Straightforward.
I know. I said that with a slight smirk, didn't I?
You've been sitting there, every time you get that box open, you've been just absolutely gagging to use all the bits and all the bits from other kits and other baneblades, and yeah, I know what you're like.
Yeah, there might have been an urge.
You've been seeing, I don't know about that, you've been seeing things you can add, you've been looking at it and thinking, yeah, but what if I had this and what if I had that?
Oh, definitely.
How do I add more exhaust pipes?
Athol says, now you're showing your age. He says, recalling schoolyard memories when we lined up for hot sausage rolls and a carafe hot soup. Yeah. Yeah.
See, the things at primary school, we didn't have anything other than dinner at dinner time. Everything else was you had to take your own stuff. There was no like tuck shop for break time. You had to just take your own stuff for break snacks.
Oh, with us it was dinner tickets and school dinners.
Well, we had school dinners at dinner time. But you just went in and got fed. At secondary school, that's when we had like a tuck shop.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got your dinner at lunchtime and.
Oh, really? Yeah. On our school on a Monday, you used to go in to the main hall and you would get your dinner tickets for the week.
Oh yeah.
And it was a long, like a long strand. So you had your tea, your school dinner, and a pudding, and you had a ticket for each. And yeah, it was.
No, ours were just
quite organised, really.
I know. I mean, at dinner time, basically, at lunchtime, you went into the canteen, the eating area.
Yeah.
And you just kind of. You walked up to the counter and were given your tray of food and you sat down and ate. But there was like a couple of tables off to the side for kids with packed lunches. And I never quite understood why. Well, I never quite understood why some kids had packed lunches and not school dinners. So I'll have to ask Mum and Wolf if they actually had to pay for the school dinners. And therefore
no,
the ones
didn't. Having a packed lunch, you didn't have to pay for the school dinners.
No, I mean, I wonder if the people who had the school dinners had to pay for them. I never thought about that.
School dinners? No, it was state.
Primary school.
If I remember rightly.
So I don't understand why some kids had I mean, every now and then I had packed lunch as well. It's like, well, if they were free, why did I have a packed lunch?
Oh, no, you used to pay for your school dinners, but if you was if your parents were on any form of benefit, then you had the hole punched in your ticket to say that you was on free meals.
Because I was too little, so I don't remember where. I obviously didn't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, so you could either have the free school dinner or you took a packed lunch. That was your opt-out, almost,
Because I'm pretty sure I don't really remember. I mean, I'll have to ask Mum or Wolf if they had to pay like so much a month or something. I don't know. I never thought about it because I just turned up and ate me for dinner.
If I remember rightly, I think it was. Oh, blimey, I think it was about £1 a week because, you know, I left school in 82, so I think it was 20 pence a day for the school. It was something, you know, there was a transaction, but the tuck shop idea came in the final year at our school, so.
Yeah, I mean,
the prices went up then because it was like individual items, X amount for some beans, X amount for a spud, X amount for this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite good because, I mean, literally, primary school just turned up and ate. But secondary school was when I had to take dinner money with me, and then you'd go into the canteen and you'd pick what you wanted, and then give at the end of it there'd be a cash register with a dinner lady there taking you. It's like, you know, a few quid.
Yeah.
It wasn't expensive, and for some reason I always liked to have the sausage, beans, and chips.
Oh, I used to love that.
Unless they had steak sandwiches. Oh, hang on, there's the guy with the. Can you hear him?
Yeah. He's stalking you, mate, isn't he?
I'm gonna have to close that window, aren't I?
Oh,
gosh darn it!
Honestly, it's not distracting, mate. Don't fret. Seriously.
People in chat, is that annoying? Should I close my window? Is it annoying for you, or shall I leave it? Shall I leave my window open? Do let me know.
Yeah, it's just like a background hum at the moment, mate. To be honest with you.
I'll give him background hum.
But, you know, you don't want to sweat your nads off, mate, because you know.
No. Well, it's more just, you know, the convenience of people not having to listen to it.
Yeah, but like I say, he'll do a bit, and then he'll go and have a fag or something, you know, smoke or whatever. So
that'd be nice. Be nice if he did.
You know, don't stress over it, mate.
Don't know which house it is actually.
It's no different than us in the summer having our fans on, is it? Come on.
Yeah, but they're not that loud. They're not quite as middle class as some ponce having his extension done.
Have you got your quote, mate? Before I read out,
I couldn't open the website, so I'll have to wing it.
Wing it then, mate, because Jeff is in Candygram for Mongo. Our very own Carl Sagan, whose belly is tea. He said, soon an omelette, spinach, sweet peppers, and mushrooms. There you go, mate.
There you go. But the brain does much more than just recollect. It analyses, it synthesises, it generates abstractions like the concept of the number one, has an elaborate logical underpinning. The brain has its own way to test the structure and consistency of the world. That's purely from memory, slightly wrong. I'm going to close the window because it's annoying me.
He's such a girl, isn't he? Bless him.
Because it might not be loud for you guys, but it's really loud for me.
Yeah, no, it's annoying you, but, you know, it's one of them.
Middle-class problems. The other middle-class problem we've had around here lately is every week we put our bins out.
Yeah.
And it's green bin plus one other. And several times I've gone out and taken our other bin out and not been able to find the green bin.
Yeah.
And it's like... So at one point I had to literally take someone else's bin.
Yeah, that's keep getting pinched.
And then wait till the next weekend until somebody put the bin out. And I never know if it's the binman taking the green bin then dropping it off halfway down the road.
Yeah.
Or if one of our neighbours has lost their bin and just keeps taking someone else's.
Yeah.
And the other week before last, I went out and I couldn't find it, but I walked a couple of houses down and it was there on somebody else's driveway.
Yeah.
But luckily they keep them outside the gate so I could go and get it. And it was at the back of the hidden it. I'm like, either you didn't notice the big house number on the front.
Yeah, it has got a big house number.
Hang on, there's somebody at my door.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. You're going to do what you got to do. The show will go on, mate. Fret not. But yeah, we keep having our bin nicked, and it's so annoying. But different people do it different way, don't they? If it ain't nailed down, they'll have it. But we normally find it because it's got a massive big white number on the front of it, so it's like... Yeah. And then they look at you and they go, oh, I didn't realise. It's like, yeah, how could you not realise? Losing the big number, mate. Seems to be the norm now. Graham says it sounds like there's a bee flying in the background. Yeah, it's only light and it's not noise, but I'm sure it'll be fine. go. We'll have a little bit of putty in there and just brush that across.
Ooh, hang on a sec.
Just to fill that seam up, because
I'm
once
back.
it's painted... Yeah, no worries, geez.
Big delivery at the door.
Oh, what you got? What you got? What you ordered? Forge well,
Oh,
good man.
No, 6 bottles of Dettol antibacterial spray. It's not exciting.
Bless you.
Yeah, so anyway, and it was on their driveway, and I'm like, well, I don't know how you missed the number, so either you're a right clamp-handed thief,
Yeah.
and you think we wouldn't notice, or you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of rattle cans of Games Workshop primer,
Yeah.
sprayed the house number on every single surface on each bin.
Yeah. Yeah, but it done it annoying. I mean, I was saying to the chat, we have the same problem here, mate. And you go and get it back, and you say to them, I'm going to take me bin if you don't mind. Oh, I didn't realise it was yours. The clue's in the rather, like, say, 2 foot long number on the front.
Yeah.
How can you not know? But, yeah. Or
I mean,
you
I suppose
find it and it's full up with rubble where they're having building work done. That's the one that grates you.
Yeah, I mean, I this is the weird the one, because I mean, I suppose if the bin man dumps my bin outside their house, only a few doors down,
Yeah.
and they just grab the handle and don't look at the other side of it because the number's on the other side, they might not realise it's not theirs. It's just outside the house.
Yeah.
But I went out one week. The bins are emptied on the Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
I went out. There's the green bin. There's the black bin.
Yeah.
Open the black bin, empty, perfect. Open the green bin, full up, and I was, they haven't emptied the green bins. Oh, god damn it! Because sometimes hang on a minute,
Yeah.
we didn't have French sticks
Yeah.
or lettuce or any of these other things that are in the green. Why is this? Isn't what?
Yeah.
Somehow they'd emptied our green bin, and then somebody had put the contents of their green bin in our green
Yeah.
bin.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Oh, we've had it before where they filled it up with all their like, say, garden waste or whatever, and then they have the cheek to wheel it back outside, because our local authority can fine you if you put the wrong type
stuff.
of things like chemicals or building rubble, that sort of thing. So of course, they, it's got your house number on the front, so when they come across it, they report you, and you can't deny it because it's got a 2 foot number on the front. So that's when it gives us the ump, because it's like, no, I'm not getting a fine off of the council for you, you turd. So
But the thing that confused me was, though, it wasn't like a little bit of their garden or kitchen waste went into our bin. It was like a foot deep.
Yeah.
And we, of a week, we might have 2 or 3 bits of food in food bags from the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I thought, hang on a minute, this is all like food. There's like French sticks and there's cheese and there's like all these vegetables. I'm like, that's like several food bins. So it looks more like somebody's literally upended their own big green bin.
Yeah.
Into ours, because they wouldn't have that much food waste lying around in your kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't in food bags. It wasn't in food bags. It was just loose. I'm like, how have you even done this? What? And it was purely so they didn't have all this stuff sitting. Whoever it was, they'd obviously forgotten to put the green bin out, and they didn't want it sitting around in the green bin all week.
Yeah.
So I'll dump it in somebody else's. Thanks, mate.
Jackie's in saying hello, Jackie.
Hey, Jackie.
How you doing, love?
Such middle class concerns, aren't they? These.
Oh, yeah. It just annoys you, though, doesn't it? It's like, really?
Yeah. I think this means we're old men. I remember when all this was fields.
Oh, yeah, we are officially whiny old...
Farts.
Pretty much, yeah. I didn't know whether I could say that.
Yeah, that's allowed. That's allowed.
I don't want to get eModels in trouble, because it's their channel at the end of the day.
No, that word's not a problem. Right, so I've got the floor in and glued. I'm just attaching it to each side of each track unit on the side.
Oh, you're good, you are. Tell you're a guru.
But the trick is with these to make sure they go in all the way, and use a lot of glue, because they seem like they fit in place, but I don't know if you can see, you can still see the gap there, so you have to really push them together. And they don't always fit perfectly, but there's not much you can do about that, sadly. If you've not lined them up perfectly when you glue them together, they're never going to go together.
Your
So you might,
basically.
yeah, you might have a little bit of a gap down between the sides and but it's not the end of the world. But that's about it. Get that on, glue it together. I think that's the right way around.
He says,
Have I got that the wrong way around? Oh, hang on, I might have got that the wrong way. Oh, you spoon fox. Oh no, that is the right way around. Yes. Woo, panic over.
I wouldn't mock you.
You would, and you should. If I managed to somehow glue the truck units on the wrong way around, I would have expected you to mock me. Now the trick here is that you have these pieces that go here at the front. You have to put these in now while it's still loose and wobbly, because they go in like this, and they've got teeth that stick out, and you have to push them apart slightly to lock them in place. So do this now while you can still pop them apart a little bit. I mean, you could do this before this part, but
exactly.
if you do it now, it just means they're going to be locked in place and lined up. Same for this, same for the glasses plate as well, which goes in there. Just get it on, push it in, open it up. There you go, done. Now I can get some glue on there.
He's good.
You have to be a bit generous with the glue, but don't worry too much. You're not going to make a mess or anything. And then you can run the glue along the edge here. If it's on camera, I don't know. You don't actually need to worry about gluing these two corners though, because they're held in place so nicely by the tabs that keep them in place. That is now done.
Absolutely.
And that, because it's on my glass plate, it's not doing the old wiggle. So that should hopefully
keep it nice and level, mate.
Yeah. I mean, it's not impossible that you can still have a bit of a wonky floor if your tracks aren't quite right, but as long as it's not doing that on the table, that's
absolutely.
Everything else nobody will notice on the tabletop because they see it from 3 feet away.
Yeah. So if ever you go into Games Workshop and someone's got a baneblade on a vignette, you know that their tracks are wonky.
Yeah. Now, if you want a real modelling challenge, not that you can get these from eModels, because you can't get Forge World models anywhere except from Forge World or the Forge World store at Warhammer World. Building a Forge World tank, which is all resin, is a much bigger challenge.
Oh yeah.
Because I did the Malcador, the Macarius, and it's a big solid block for the body, a big solid block for each track unit. And you just basically glue the two sides onto the block of the central part of the body.
Yeah.
So imagine this was a big solid block of resin. Just put those two on. But of course it's resin. So you can't guarantee that it's not slightly warped.
Yeah.
You know, the body could be slightly warped, or the tracks could be bent out like that, or bent up, or... So you can do a dry fit, and you know, you might have to adjust them to get them to fit straight, but you can't do a dry fit and heat them up and bend them, because you can't get it all together in one go, because it all falls apart. So it's quite tricky. You're constantly looking and checking and dry fitting. It's quite stressful to do it, but once you do get it right, it works.
Yeah, but once it's done, isn't it?
Yeah, I think even on my Macarius I still had a bit of wobble, but not too much.
It happens, mate.
Yeah. In the end, I think I just heated up the tracks and pushed it down, so the track just squished a bit.
It's nothing that you can't rectify at the end of the day.
Yeah. Just don't look too closely at the drive wheels. You might notice that some of them aren't quite circular, the road wheels, because I've squashed them down. Right, so that's that bit done. So I can leave that to dry and go back a step to do my fuel barrels. Roll out the barrel. Oh dear. How do I apply for a Cockney passport? What do I need to do to pass the nationalisation? The sort of the what's it called when you become a thing of a country? Yeah, can I get like a Cockney passport?
Yeah, you'd be all right. I'd let you in.
Is there like a naturalisation quiz or something?
Yeah, I would recommend you. A bit like the Freemasons, you know. I would, yeah. I'd say, yeah.
Do I have to name like?
I nominate him.
Do I have to name like 15 previous Cockney presidents or something?
No, you just have to vow to shoot Dick Van Dyke upon sight and never watch EastEnders.
I never watch EastEnders anyway.
Yeah, no, because
Well, I might be in trouble because I've got to make my fuel bills, my fuel things. I might be in trouble then because I can't find the sprue. Because I would have quite happily launched fire and death upon Dick Van Dyke for his really bad Cockney accent until the day I watched Diagnosis Murder and quite enjoyed it, and I may have forgiven him a little bit.
You
So I think I might have.
You kept
Well, I
that
thought-
quiet.
Well, I think I was younger and I was like, I hate him for the Cockney rubbish, but at the same time, I quite like Diagnosis Murder.
Yeah, my mum, I must admit, she's a bit of a fan of that Diagnosis Murder. So, yeah.
So I may have said, you know what, he did some bad Cockney things, and we hate him for that, but he's made good. We'll let him off.
yeah, we'll give him a pass.
Yeah, we'll give him a gentle pass. He still gets a clip round the ear from your mother.
Yeah.
Right, so it's fuel tank times, and I always mess these up.
Yeah, you don't enjoy doing them, do you?
Oh no, I don't mind doing the fuel tanks. They're a bit of a fluff to clean up, but I always get the barrels the wrong way around. You basically got these barrels, the Promethean barrels,
Yeah.
and they have a little skull, because there's always skulls in Warhammer. They've got little skulls on them. And the trick is you want to make sure both skulls face the same way, i.e. normal way up.
Yeah.
But I invariably end up with one barrel the wrong way around because I didn't look carefully and I messed it up. So I've got to be really careful this time and make sure I get them both the right way around. How to tell a model making your baneblade one of the barrels is upside down.
Yeah.
Dough. Dough.
It's all sent to test us, mate.
Yep. Absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll cut all 4 barrel faces off and then I can make sure they're all right.
And then go for it.
Yeah. Blap them out. What's chap been doing? Let's have a look. I don't know if you've read these. This morning's pre-dawn patrol from Jeff. Have you read that one?
No, I haven't, mate.
This morning's pre-dawn patrol of the wastelands with dog meats 1 and 2 sadly revealed no new clues regarding the secret, despite valiantly searching.
Yeah, we get told off now if we mention the secret.
Yeah.
We've been ever so good today, haven't we?
We don't mean the secret like Oprah Winfrey nonsense secret. We mean this is a better secret.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's Jeff's way of showing off that he knows all about Fallout because he's talking about the wastelands and dog meat 1 and 2.
I'm impressed.
But let's just say, without giving too much... No, I can't give too much away. I give too much away if I say that. I was going to say something, but I shall not.
He's like a coiled spring, Jeff. He really is, mate.
I'm like a cold spring, but without being a threat to anybody. I'm like a coiled spring.
It's one of them, innit? I think people will pretty much guess anyway at some point.
Yeah, they'll either go, that's brilliant, or they'll go, is that it?
Yeah.
It'll be one of the two. Right, so there's my barrels. That's the top with the archway, the sort of Gothic arch there.
Underneath the
archway. So we have pegs. We have to do that. We're contractually obliged. And we have holes. But if I put that one on there, dun 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 dun, the skull is upside down. No.
Yeah, you can't do that, mate. It's funny you saying that. I did actually check mine, and both my skulls are the correct way. So
I think the last one I actually did, I just by fluke managed to get them right. So there you got 2 skulls the right way around, and I think that's the top. I do love the fact, because if you know your Warhammer, it's all like Gothic in design and architecture. And I do love the fact that the bit that this connects to there is like Gothic shaped, and the fuel pipes that come out the side go into a little sort of Gothic window. It's just such awesome Gothicness.
oh yeah, they are.
Gothic.
They're really well done. They are.
Now what I'm going to do here, I'm actually not going to do anything with the nubs on there. Actually, no, I am first. Or am I?
Oh, what nub? What nub? You're a nub. You're made of
Oh no, I'm
nubs.
not. Normally when you get a circular thing like that, what you'll do is you'll glue it together and then sand the nubs away so you don't get like an obvious step.
Yeah.
But there's actually a strap on that thing there, so I'm going to do the nubs first. Because this strap isn't on the other piece, so I can't do this.
Then live in there. Okay.
But the beauty of this tank is if you mess anything up, like you carve away some rivets or you get a gap in your panels, they're so lumpy, these models, and ridiculous that you could just easily fix anything with a bit of
Oh
plastic
yeah, you
card.
can just make new ones. That's all I do.
Yeah. I've got a few panel gaps, and all I'm going to do is just put some plastic card strips to make it look like a line of like steel, like a, you know, it's an extra strip of steel that I can put rivets on it and hide it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got underneath.
Yeah.
And I should
Like
just
I've
put
got
my
there.
bolts. Yeah, I've just got bolts, and then I should weld stuff, and yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a little bit of a gap there between those two panels. So all I do is I'll put a strip of plastic card down there. I'll mirror it on the other side.
Yeah.
And then it just looks like a piece of the armour strip. Put some rivets on it. No one will ever know, because I've never said that on the internet or anything.
No, you've got away with that, mate. No one will ever guess.
No one will ever know what I did.
Athol says, time to feed his belly. Both his and hers have fun. Paul D. Tommaso says, secret. What secret? Ah, that's a secret. See what I did?
There's a secret that Festa and I know that Jeff is absolutely determined to find out, but failing miserably.
He's done well, hasn't he, with his Inspector clues, though. I give him that.
Well, he's done well in that he's not found out yet, which is not well, really.
Yeah, he's been determined, but, you know.
Yeah.
Like you say, everyone will go, oh, is that it?
Either that or they'll be really happy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm excited about it anyway, if nobody else is. And that's all that matters, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What else has been going on, folks? Tell us things in chat. Ask us questions.
Yeah, what's been going on? What you're up to? What are your plans?
Kevin Stevens says, "Be right back, guys."
No worries, Kev.
He's probably gone to do pooping, I bet. Pooping. Kevin's pooping.
I wasn't going to say that.
Kevin's pooping. Everybody watch. No, don't.
You're wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, no. Somebody has to be.
Oh, I don't know. Don't ever change, mate. Don't ever change.
I can't because I'm far too lazy. Because I've run out of things to talk about now, so...
Oh, you're having a breather now, are you? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I kind of realise that when I'm doing these kind of streams, all I do is talk about the model I'm building, and that's really boring, so I need to stop talking about baneblades. But even though I could talk about them all day long.
Yeah, but it's the thing that excites you, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure people are just watching for us to goon around.
It's your thing at the end of the day. Yeah, but, well, you know, we do goon around, don't we?
It is the order of things.
Absolutely. You know, as I've said many a times, I've tried to be an adult once, and it didn't last long. It wasn't fun.
Boring.
I got bored with it, so, yeah, I stopped being an adult.
Adulting's rubbish.
Boring, being an adult.
I know, you've got to do, like, income tax returns and all kinds of rubbish. It's yeah. Nonsense.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's no fun at all, mate.
That's the government forcing me to do maths.
Yeah, government-sponsored maths. When did that become a thing?
Fascists.
Just not on, is it?
I deliberately avoided thinking about maths while I was at school because I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to come into real life and have to think about it. I fully expected to just go to work, come home, get a pay slip and let the government do all the thinking for me, but no.
Oh, no.
Self-employed now. Have to do your tax return. Oh. I need to earn more doing being self-employed so I can just pay an accountant to do that thinking instead.
Yeah, but it's always that thing, innit? You know, it's tax return time is, yeah. It's, you know, it's just wrong, innit? It's like, really?
Although it was quite good last year because I had to apply for something last summer.
Yeah.
And it said, right, we need to have all your income figures to work out what you can get. And I'm like, I'm going to have to do my tax return, aren't I? God damn. I normally do it like in January, the year I submit it. Last minute job, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought, well, I may as well just do my whole damn tax return now and just submit it. I've got to do it anyway. I may as well just do it. So I just did it. And then when it came to tax return time in December, I'm like, woohoo, I don't have to do it because I did it 6 months ago. Yes, I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
A whole year and a half without having to do a tax return made me very happy.
It's surprising, though, how it mounts up.
Yeah.
You know.
Because we're getting old, it's surprising how fast it comes around.
Yeah. You know,
I know,
it
but
is
all this
one of
was
them
fields.
things, you know, you have to think about doing.
All this used to be fields, you know.
It did. I remember back in our day, we didn't have all these luxuries when we was kids.
Yeah, I know.
Kids have got it easy today.
Always makes me sad when there's a set of fields near us, and it was like two fields together. One was like the local sort of, it had like a couple of really poorly laid out like football pitches with some crappy goals and a little sports hut just for the kids and a little playground area. It was a big field, and the other half of the field was just unkept land, and there was like a big, like, there was a brook that ran down the middle that had dried up, so there's basically a big trench between the two.
Oh right, yeah.
And at the back of this other field, the unkept one, was like a, what I suppose was made into a BMX track, just like a little lots of little crisscrossy paths, tiny little paths. I don't know why it was there.
Yeah.
But it was great for whizzing around on your bikes. And it always makes me sad every time I went back in later life, and it was just houses now.
Oh yeah.
The sports field's still there, but the actual unkempt, because we used to run around and fall out of trees and jump over the brook with our bikes and all kinds of stuff. It was great.
So it's surprising how much, how much is missing from the old neighbourhoods.
Yeah.
You know, you go up there and you're like, you know, oh, this is where I used to live or what, and it's all gone.
I feel sorry for the kids that can't, like, you know, look for catfish in Catty's Bend or climb up the trees that we used to call the ladders, because you could go from one to the other all the way across this bit of brook. And it's like, such a shame.
It is. It's like anything, you know, London's a city that's always evolving. Manchester's the same. It's the same all over the world at the end of the day. And
it's like, where now can kids hide in a tree away from all the Germans in the train going past on the train line? You know
exactly.
What I mean?
You know, if they didn't put new buildings up, you'd still be walking around and it'd be ye olde Tudor houses or Roman vaults, wouldn't it? You know, so the cities have got to evolve.
Yeah, but it seems a shame to get rid of one of the few green areas around the area.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be so bad if they weren't just the sort of 1990s bland houses that you get. That
the rabbit hutches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny, though? You can go down any motorway in the UK and most of the house designs are the same in every city.
Well, it's all the big housing boom in the 30s, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's just like, it really, you're like, it don't feel like you've left your own town, does it? It's strange.
Yeah. You can kind of chart it, because you can look at them and you can say, well, there's a few distinct phases. There's the really old stuff, like going back to Elizabethan, which is all the ramshackle higgledy-piggledy stuff. You can't miss that. Or the Tudor style. That's quite rare, but in some areas it's the norm. Then there's basically all the Victorian stuff, which is your terraced houses and all that kind of Industrial Revolution housing. You can spot that a mile away. And then after that, you've got the sort of 1930s, which is all like we've got, like I'm in a standard 3-bed semi with bay windows. That's real 1938. This one was built, and then there's nothing then until the post-war years, and it's all 1960s, and that's when all the houses just become really boring.
Yeah,
because then you just get the boring like little bits of wood on the front and square windows, and it's boring.
Yeah, quite really. Yeah.
They put some new houses up near me, actually, and they're like little, I guess, 2-bed semis. They're like a little bit thinner. But get this right, the outside it's got this, imagine you've got a house with your bricks and stuff, and then you put like a flat panel over the front.
Yeah.
Instead of, but not like strips of wood, it's just black plasticky stuff.
Yeah.
And it's that colour. It's that colour, literally.
Oh,
so you've got every side of the house is coated in this flat, sort of cladded layer of this.
It's that cladding that they put on everything nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's either metal or plastic. It's probably just plastic bolted onto the bricks.
Yeah.
So it's dull battleship grey.
Yeah.
And then the windows on the lower floor, you've got a front door, and then you've got a window.
Oh,
that
right.
It's about a foot wide and about 4 foot tall.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's like, so it's literally like, it's this rectangle.
Yeah.
And then upstairs, you've got a little tiny bedroom window that's about 3 foot wide and about 4 foot tall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not only is it grey and dull and lifeless on the outside, it must be dark as hell on the inside.
Yeah.
There's no windows. What's that all about?
Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it?
wow, it's like living in a 19... It's like, I don't know, it's the kind of thing they were building in Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, in Germany. It's kind of like brutalistic look. And Dorcosaurus is in.
Hello, mate. How you doing? Yeah, we had a lot of the cladded stuff all redone after the Grenfell situation because a lot of the cladding was found to be of a similar type, so they had to hastily remove a lot of that.
Well, I don't know if this is clad. I mean, I suppose it is, but it's just like
so
there's some houses. Go on.
No, that's all right. You carry on, mate.
I was going to say there's some houses nearby that have got like wooden slats, vertical wooden slats on the front. It's the same kind of thing, but they look a bit better. This is just plastic or something.
We've got a lot of properties here where the cladding's been removed. They just literally have got nothing on the front at the moment apart from tarps because, You
did say tarps then, didn't you?
Tarps. Yeah, TARPS, mate.
Yeah, good lad.
Yeah, I'll see what
I think my barrels are all correct. Oh no! Oh yes! No! Yes! No! No! Hang on.
Oh dear! You made a boo-boo.
No, I nearly put both of those upside down. There we go. That's correct now.
He has one job, folks.
I have einen Job. Shut up. My German failed me. My fake German.
Could have been worse. Could have been mine.
Give us a bit of your fake German, Carl.
What? Yeah.
That was so low effort.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to get maximum effort out of me, mate. You know this.
That was so low energy, it was almost an LED.
Yeah, it's like, that's what you're getting, mate.
Such nonsense. Right, I'll get these two barrels going. I'm going to need to step away for a minute just to...
Yeah, you do what you got to do, mate.
Do a natural function. I'll just put this other barrel...
No, that's all right, mate. You do what you got to do. Don't have to announce it, mate. Just go.
No, I need to tell people that I'm not... I suppose don't need to say why.
Just going for a wee.
For a second. Go and do pooping. I'm not doing pooping, really.
Yeah.
Now, if you are building a baneblade, handy tip when you're doing these barrels... If you've never done it before, now will be a good time to learn the Gumpler Builder's squishy glue technique, which is to get glue between them, give it 10 seconds, and then squish them together.
Squish everything together.
Yep. The glue bubbles up out of the gap. It brings some squishy melted plastic with it. And then, when it's all dried off, you've got plastic that you can trim back and shave back to leave you with no big panel line.
He's good, isn't he?
No
this
big
is
gap.
why he's a guru, folks.
Oh, shut up.
He loves it, really.
I'm not I am from.
He loves it.
Now, there is, as you can see, there's dirty great big seam line in there. It's the worst thing ever. But we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that with some cunningness. Although not as cunning as Colin's cunningness, because he was more cunning about than I was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but deep down, I know that you want to get your circle cutter out, don't you? That's what you want to do.
Yeah, but then I don't want the embarrassment of just failing miserably with it.
How can I be daft? No one's going to laugh.
Yeah, I'm never going to listen to you when you say that. You know that.
You don't trust your Uncle Festa?
No.
Oh, mate, all bits of me have died inside now.
Never, don't trust me, big brother. Not ever.
Bless you. He does, really.
We're siblings in everything except actual family links, which means we have to mock each other at every turn.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be us if we weren't mocking each other, mate.
There is no bathroom.
Surprising how many people think we're being serious. That's what makes me laugh.
I know. I like messing with people's chi. So I don't know if you can see on there now a bit better. There's actually you can't really see, but there's like a bead of melted plastic sticking up through the gap. If I was bothered about this bit, I'd do the same here, but this is a recess, so you can't fill that or scrape it away, so we're not bothered about that. We will sort that out a different way. So just get your glue in there in the gap. You don't have to use lots. Give it a few seconds. It's important you give it a few seconds to melt the plastic.
Absolutely.
That's where you get the splooge.
Can't because be a bit of splooge, mate.
Splooge! Because filling that gap with filler will be an absolute living nightmare. It's much better to fill it with its own plastic with squishing. Ooh, hello. Squish, squish. Plus you get to use the word squish. Are you dedusting there?
No, I'm
Oh, you're accelerating.
accelerating.
Ah. Right, so that's them done. I shall step away for just a moment. I shall be back momentarily.
worries. Bless him. Yeah, I'm just having a bit of the super glue is out, folks. Yeah. Yeah. How well this goes for me is another matter. Tell you what I will do, I'll warm that up. See how well this goes, Carl. Get that to conform to that curve, because I want to put a strap around these two barrels. I want to have a strap one side. Don't know why, just felt like the thing to do. So we'll have a bit of that on there. Plenty on there, and then I'll whop it with a bit of the old accelerate ore. This is where I'm going to stick the barrels to my finger now. I know it, but we'll see how it goes. Doctosaurus says he's got coffee. He's going to be right back. No worries, mate. No worries. You get back when you're good and ready, mate. There you go. See, I just wanted a nice strap round there. So that can sit like that, and then we can get the welder out in a bit and do a bit of weldy pops. But I'm first going to make up some rivets. Let's leave that on there. I might need a bit more of that. Sling that just there. I might need a bit more of the old styrene, so might as well keep that there. Let's put that back and dig out me welder in anticipation, because I will need to weld some of the seams together and give it some weld lines. So I might as well do that. Rattling away like a good one there. Let's lose the spoon. Put a different tip on, which will be that one there. That me welder. Yeah. Let's bung that on there. Old D Tomazo says could be better. Yeah, I know, mate. Real life and all of that. Look, we're all going through it, mate.
I'm back.
He's back. So let's hang that up there out the way for a minute. I'll do a bit of welding with that shortly. The super glue stuff can go to one side for a bit.
Have you read Kevin Stevens' response to me?
No, I haven't, mate. I've been just putting my super glue out the way so that I don't...
When he says I was wrong, he wasn't pooping. He says, Fox, you were wrong. It was comfort dinner time and a chance to get the bins in as it wasn't raining.
Yeah. There you go.
So definitely pooping then, basically, is what he's saying.
Stop it. Leave him alone.
It's always pooping.
You'll embarrass the poor man.
Pooping is always the answer.
So we have got...
La 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 la.
Let's make sure them lids are on.
Jeff says...
Go on.
Oh, go on. Oh,
No,
Jeff says, most American thing ever. I received a letter notifying me that my concealed pistol license would be coming up for renewal. The notice was sent to me from the Texas Department of Public Safety.
I thought of Jeff running around with loaded guns, because he's such an unassuming fella, isn't he? He's just got this image now of him running around all Chuck Norris. It just, yeah.
The thing is, I can't see Jeff running around with any weaponry trying to give commands to people in his sort of radio announcer golden voice. It just doesn't.
Doing Carl
Hi,
Sagan
welcome
quotes.
to KRPC TV.
Yeah.
Please.
Put that all there. Move that to one side just for a minute because I want to make some rivets across there.
You're listening to Classic Hits on LMBT Radio, the heart of Texas. Or something.
Yeah. 1.5 mil. How many am I going to want? Got a little stash.
Are you doing rivet? Are you doing hex nuts?
Yeah, I've got X nuts to make, so I've got a few there, but I'll make a couple more. Just to give that a bit of character. How many have I
Just
got?
to make it a bit nuts.
4, 6, 7. See what he did there.
To quote 1989 Batman, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Oh, hazelnuts.
Let me tell you about a guy I knew, Jack. Head for the bad wiring. But he got sloppy.
Yeah.
I like this guy already.
So, another one.
Here we see Paleolithic man hammering tools. Hammering the equipment he
Absolutely.
needs. He couldn't just go to the shop and buy meat. He
But
had
it's
to
the
hunt the
fact-
meat.
The thing is, it's the fact that we get to play with a little hammer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It is fun.
Paleolithic man had to go and make his own rivets so he could find meat. I've not even used mine yet. I've not even...
Really?
tried
That
using mine
surprises me.
yet. No, I keep meaning to get around to doing it and then don't.
Yeah, no, it don't take no effort at all. Just a little dink. Done.
You're a dink.
I like being a dink.
I've got loads of little receptacles for them. I just need to sit around and make you a load of rivets, hex nuts, whichever. Rivets, that's the one. Rivet.
It is riveting. Say, what? Oh, I think I'll stop now.
Oh, you think you're such a stud? Stud, get it? Stud, rivet, stud.
See what he did.
I'm going to bolt.
Pop them out. Here you go. Another
I'm
3.
going to get hammered.
That should be enough. Just
Right,
that's
so what I need to do now
about a dozen
is make the
now.
little circles.
Jeff
Time
Light
to make-
is in saying hello, Carl Foxx, and everybody in chat. Hello, Jeff. How you doing, mate?
I would know
Nice
that
to
if my
see you.
chat updated itself. God damn it.
God, he's not happy unless he's having a moan, is he?
YouTube, Chrome, something, I don't know.
Yeah, it is a bit.
Some rubbish.
Yeah, it's a bit shoddy at the moment. Put that in there. Get rid of that out of the way.
Reveal my secret how I make these. I have a template.
What?
Look at me, I'm dancing. Oh, I think I lost the beat. I have a template. I have a small circle.
Oh, do you?
Oops.
Look at you.
Well, I tried using my circle cutting tool and it failed miserably, so I've just made a small circle of about the right size. And I just draw around it and then I do hand manual trimming. Which, if you've had a Brazilian, you'll know all about that.
Okay. Things I wish I didn't know about you.
No, I've never had a Brazilian. I'm just saying it was...
You want to go
You know, many-
manscape?
you-
That's your decision.
I've never done such a thing. There's many things you know about me that you wish you didn't.
Yeah, all the things, all the wrong things.
And I
Don't
make
worry
sure
about
you
one
know
of them.
these facts at every point.
And he does. He takes great pride in telling me all of this stuff, folks.
Yeah, exactly. See, baneblade barrel template. I can't even forget that now. It's there forever.
It's there, is it?
Yeah, it says it on the bag. Baneblade barrel template.
Oh, you're good.
I need my Tamiya decal scissors
I'll get him with his decal scissors of Tamiya's.
that I've never actually used for decals. I only use them for everything else. Never for decals. Hello, la, la, la. Did I say hello to Jeff? Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff, he says again.
So what I'm going to do is cut these out manually. Okay.
I see what he did there.
You're very impressed, weren't you?
I am. They're rebooting that, aren't they?
I don't really think they should.
No, I think it should stay where it belongs.
I think
it's
supposed to... Is it going to be like it's still got... Is it like thingy, but he's old now because what's his face is old?
I honestly don't know what the pretext is behind it. I mean, to me, I don't think it would work now.
No, I think it's still John Cleese playing Basil Fawlty. But...
Oh, yes, it is. He's basically a retired Basil Fawlty that is apparently going to be sort of still running it or in the background, but yeah. I honestly don't think it's going to work.
No. Let's just be perfectly honest here. British comedy died a long time ago.
Yeah, it's of its time.
Well, I mean, even I mean, you could make more Fawlty Towers.
Yeah.
But I think British comedy died. I think that we've lost the ability to actually write funny comedy, like scripts like that nowadays. There's funny comedians, but I think it's a
problem they've got is it has to be so politically correct or unoffensive to anything, doesn't it? So it doesn't work much now, comedy.
Well, I mean, for Fawlty Towers, you could avoid anything contentious and still make it funny. There's a lot of Fawlty Towers that didn't do anything like that. But it's just, I don't think there's anyone out there that knows how to write comedy anymore.
No.
For sitcoms or anything, because if you look at any comedy series that's come out recently, they're all just garbage.
Yeah.
They're all trying too hard.
Yeah.
I think the last funny comedy series I watched was like the IT Crowd or the IT Crowd. That was about it.
I loved the one where he was in the grabber. Look, it's an iPhone.
But it's like, I mean, you know, most
and when he was on the bus, the back of the disabled bus in the wheelchair because he had tried to feign that he was in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
He died in a fire at SeaWorld.
Things like Father Ted and stuff is classic, but I think since like the early 2000s, every time I've watched anything that's purported to be a comedy series, it's been kind of garbage. It's been trying too hard. Yeah. I don't think we've got the actors to carry it off, and I don't think we've got the script writers anymore to do it.
No, I think the days of the Blackadder type British thing have gone now, isn't they? It's just not there, is it? It's a shame.
No.
Let's do another 4 of those, I think. Yeah. So what have we got? We've got 1, so 3 more. Go across the middle there. I did get to play with such a gorgeous little dinky hammer.
Dinky hammer.
That's a 1.5.
You sound like, when did you become a Radio 1 DJ? Hey, Charity in at number 5 on the charts today.
Oh, dear.
It's the Goombay Dance Band
with 7 tears. Yeah.
I'm going to take my headphones off. I think the problem television's got in the UK at the minute is they've spent so many years making programs for mindless mouth breathers that involve celebrity nonsense or phone in for you vote for your favourite or let's watch people reacting to stuff, that they've made all this drivel for the last 20 years. I'm looking at UITV.
Yeah, reality telly and...
That they've built up an audience of morons who don't understand anything, and therefore you can't write comedy like that because they wouldn't like it. So yeah. There might be 1 or 2, but I think that's why I haven't watched telly properly for 20 years. I give up.
Yeah, all my stuff is, binge watching stuff that's either on the TiVo box or whatever, because there's nothing
still good
really
stuff
that floats me boat out there, if I'm honest.
There is still good stuff out there. I mean, I like things like Death in Paradise and things like that, because they're not necessarily 100% comedies. They're like dramedies, aren't they? So that's a bit different. But the classic sitcom or comedy like Fawlty Towers isn't really a sitcom. It's like a comedy. But that kind of comedy, nobody can do that anymore. things like Dad's Army and
Oh yeah, they're
it just
long
doesn't.
gone, ain't they?
Yeah, and the comedy duo teams like two Ronnies or Morecambe, like you don't get that anymore.
No, the comedy double acts are long gone, mate. It's a shame.
Yeah, I think writers nowadays just try too hard.
As the
number
art
of times
of stand-up died, really, because
No, I think stand-up's still good. There's still lots of very good comedians out there. It's just
nothing really, though, interesting enough for them to mock, is there? Because everything's quite bland at the moment.
yeah. Because like in the old days, in the old days, it was all fields around here, you know. You used to have like BBC was your traditional sitcoms and traditional, friendly comedy.
Yeah.
Two Ronnies and such. And Channel 4 was your slightly edgier Ben Elton style.
Risque.
Yeah, but I think over the years, the BBC have tried to move into that, and it's like, no, you really can't do that very well, can you?
How did your parents react to the young ones? I can remember my mum and dad just sat there ashen-faced all the way through it, and we was ripping, we was.
I don't think they had any feelings on it either way, to be honest. I don't think they didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I think they probably understood why I found it funny.
Yeah.
Why we found it funny.
It was quite funny seeing their reaction.
I think my dad liked it. But then again, in those days, my dad wouldn't have been only in his late 40s, early 50s, so, he would have probably still appreciated it a bit more. Anyway, let's not be old men anymore. My chat's...
I love being old man, old wazzock. I really do, mate. I love it.
It used to be all fields this year.
It's taken a lot of years to become this miserable. A lot of effort's gone into it.
Did you say wazzock?
Yeah, wazzock.
Is that you working on your honorary northernness again?
Yeah, well, you're trying to become an honorary cockney, so I thought,
That's
you
true.
know...
The thing is, though, if I become an honorary cockney, that means I can talk like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
When I was in New York, I can remember one guy there saying, "Are you a cockney?" It's like, and I just had to stand there for ages saying all this random stuff to him and his family because they were fascinated with it, you know.
And then when he put his gun away, you were able to walk off.
Yeah, and it was like, yeah. And it's quite... I wouldn't say embarrassing. It's a strange one because I never really understood why people... I mean, like you've often said, you love my accent, you love all of that. And whereas I sort of resent it almost because it just drives me potty.
Well, I think it's because it's the same way that, for example, for me, like I like your accent because it's just kind of cheeky. It's kind of cheeky and a little bit irreverent. That kind of accent.
Oh, cheeky chappy, yeah.
No, I don't mean like that. It's like a little bit cheeky, a little bit. Let's just have a laugh. It's light-hearted and a bit. No, that's just chavvy. That's chavs. But it's a little bit like not taking everything too serious, nice and sort of silly, relaxed, cheeky. A little bit, you know what I mean? But to me, a northern accent, like I don't want to mention specific places, but I am thinking of specific places. But to me, northern accents, and I apparently do have one. But some northern accents just sound really, really depressing and and it's like, whereas like your Cockney accent is like, oh, a little bit cheeky, chappy, bouncy, jumping up and down.
When I first started YouTube,
it's fun.
I used to really desperately try to disguise it, and I can always remember Tony Fairclough saying, "Don't. It's what makes you at the end of the day."
Especially if everybody else in the world thinks it's great, you do what people like.
He said at the end.
I've made a circle.
Oh, happy days. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I stuck a bolt head on and immediately leant on it and pulled it straight back off again.
Good girl.
I
thought you mean to go on.
I thought I would cheat with my seam and put a strip across it with a load of bolt heads on it because
that's what I'm going to do.
And then I'll weld in all my seams now.
Oh, you're doing that bit under there? All right, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm doing me welding. Desperately trying not to hold the silver bit. Because that's the hot bit, and I keep burning my fingers when I do that. Yeah,
you'll get there one day, my child.
I did it on my ball tank. You thoroughly liked that, didn't you? The welding around the ball tank. It was Foxx approved.
When I actually saw it properly close up in a photograph, I was like, "Oh, that's brilliant." So all I'm doing is literally, I've cut these things out from my template, which, if I was clever, I would have cut one to the right size and then made a template. But no. What I did was I drew around the end of a barrel.
Good man.
So it's a little bit too big, so I have to sand it. So all I'm doing is literally just getting a rough sanding sponge and just sanding it round. But I'm rotating it round constantly and doing this. And eventually, it'll be the right size. It's the Japanese craftsman, ancient craft, Meiji. Hello, welcome to the Craftsman Show. Yeah, it is like the ancient Japanese Meiji way of doing things. I suppose it's not really. It's just laziness because I could just make another template, but I'm too stupid.
What's wrong with that?
I could use my circle tool and save even more time, but it doesn't look like I've got as much skill if I do that.
And not only that, you're not really fond of it, are you? The circle tool.
No, it didn't work for me.
Nice little well bead all down there then.
Ooh, you like your well beads, don't you?
I do, mate. Yeah, I'm a well.
Have you ever tried doing the well beads with the little strip of milliput type stuff? I've never tried that.
Yeah, I've tried it, but to me it's just as quick doing it with this, and you're using the kit's own plastic. So, yeah, you know, and especially on a baneblade, it's like there's a big arse seam on it. It's just like weld it.
It is the baneblade! Let's have a look. Here we go, right. Lots of comments. Hang on. Put my lenses up. Jeff says, methinks Fox doth protest too loudly.
He does.
The lady doth protest too much. He went for the old BS&C waxing, says Paul Di Tommaso. Ooh!
Yeah.
I've never had that. I did go out. I was in a relationship with a lady. I say lady. That's the worst to use. I wouldn't even... No, not even remotely a lady. Who liked to have a bit of topiary done. So that's how I know about these things. I had my back waxed once as a laugh because I was there while she was getting herself done. I was like, she's like, why do you get your back waxed? I'm just sitting there in the waiting room, you know, waiting for it to come out. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it was the worst decision I ever made.
Dorkosaurus says, Fox, you record video with your phone. How much memory gigabytes do you use? Suggest my phone will handle up to 515. That's more than enough, mate, because mine are... I think my old one that I use is 250 gigs, I think.
My iPhone is a... Oh, I don't know, but it's a SE20. I think it's a 16 gigs 2020 SE 2020. The trick is if you're recording on a phone, if you can, try and record in takes. Don't just set the thing going for half an hour.
Yeah, 256 gigabyte, mate, is my one that I film on.
Yep. Mine's just 16 gig.
And
but the thing is...
Yeah, iPhone XS is what I film on.
Mine's a few years old. But the thing I found with my iPhone, and it could just be because it's the SE 2020, if I record more than... Well, I'm using a phone app anyway, so it's probably because I'm using this specific camera app. I can't really do more than 15 minutes anyway, because then it makes it really difficult to transfer the file from the phone to the PC, because you have to do all kind of convoluted stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I've only got 16 gig, so that's depends on what bit rate. If you're filming and if you want your video, well, I'll start that again. If your video is going to be in 1080p, just film in 1080p. If you want it in 4K, that's going to use 4 times as much memory. But I think it works out roughly about... well, put it this way. A 45-minute video, once I've edited everything down and finished it, comes up to about 4 gig. Or just under 4 gig. So, and that's...
gigabyte for every 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah. If you're doing a big, long recording... then yeah, just keep an eye on it, or just break it up every now and then. Just if you're doing a bit like Colin does, is like he sets the camera going and just goes off and does his work. But there's no harm in just giving it every 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever, and just stopping, pausing, transfer that video to your computer, and then delete it off the phone and go out.
Well, that's it. I mean, that phone that I showed just now is my old iPhone that I had before I upgraded. So the only thing I ever use that for is filming, but I just switch it on and leave it because I film, like, say, for instance, this show, I could sit and film all of this, and then I just edit it together into a 20-minute video of snippets because I get the shakes, I get the twitches, and I can edit them all out. Whereas Fox stops and starts, but I can't dedicate like that because I don't know whether I'm going to have to take 5 because I've got uncontrollable shakes. So I just leave it running, and then all of that stuff I can then edit out.
I mean, the way I do it, like I say, because Cole can't do it the way I do it, so Cole does it the way that's perfect for him.
Yeah.
Because I'm using a third-party camera app, I can't do more than 10 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it then becomes a nightmare to transfer it. So what I do is, I have my camera set up on the stand or wherever I've got it hooked up to, and right next to it is like a 3 meter, like a 10-foot long lightning to USB cable. And quite literally, I'll do my filming, and then as I finish each little bit, I'll just transfer it. I'll just drag it straight across. Windows drop and drag to the computer. But what I will do is, if I'm doing a painting video, I'm only really filming like a minute at a time. Because what I'll do is, if I'm saying, right, if you've got a video where I say, hey, Ray, today we're going to be painting this particular model, and I might do like a 3 or 4 minute bit to the camera saying, we're going to paint this, we're going to do this, let's crack on. I'll stop the recording, transfer that over, and then what I'll do is, I'll be like, right, I'm going to show painting this barrel. So I'll set the camera going, do a minute of painting, stop the camera, transfer that across, and then just finish the painting. Yeah. Because I'm only going to be showing like 20 or 30 seconds of that each step. So I don't need to film the whole thing. Now that works perfectly for me because I'm using lots of little cuts. That wouldn't work for Colin because, like he says, it's not something he can do. So it depends what you're doing, but, you know, I say I've only got 16 gig and that's never been a problem. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I film to what the carcass is allowing me to do that day. It's just a unique way I have to do it. I wish it was different, but it isn't.
I've just realised I put my little template away, but I need 8 of these, not 4, you dingus.
Oh, you've been spesh?
I am being spesh. Spesh as ever. So yeah, it depends how you do it. Like I say, I mean, I only film, if it's a painting video, I film in little snippets. If I'm doing... The only exception to me is if I'm doing, say, one of my part works where I've got like the fast forward time lapse. Yeah. What I'll do then is I'll just set what I used to do was have time lapse on the iPhone and set it going. But that can sometimes have troubles being transferred to your PC because the way it encodes it. Yeah. So all I do now is I just set the camera going and just bang, go for like... no, actually don't. I do it on a webcam, sorry. I do it on a webcam because then I can record it straight into the PC. So for that kind of time lapse, I use my webcam. Because, yeah, you can't...
I did a bit of filming yesterday, but I could only build yesterday. It was about 15-20 minutes, and I had to stop because my shakes kicked in. So I got the engine done, and that was it. But I can just cobble that all together into an episode quite easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a unique way of having to film, but I wouldn't be able to film any other way. I can't do what Fox does. Today I've got half hour, I'm going to film because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yep. But that's the beauty of it, you know. When you're making a video about something, unless you want it to be literally the process from start to finish while you're there doing it, like with no cuts, then you need to... But, you know, any other way you do it, you can film it in bits. It's all in the edit.
Absolutely.
It's all about little bits here and there. And even if it's just a case of planning your shots, what do I know? I want to show this bit, I want to show that. Like I'll say, right, I need to paint 4 different things on here. So that's 1 bit of painting red, 30 seconds painting gold. I'm going to paint that bit silver, so we'll do... And it's just little shots like that. You patch it all together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having to change how I film now because obviously with things that are happening... So even this year I've had to radically change how I film things because things have changed for me now. So my videos are going to be, I wouldn't say, well, yeah, they're probably going to be a bit briefer. The whole cutting off the sprues and all of that lot I shall drop and just voice over the painting and the detail stuff, and that'll be it because... It's the amount of time it takes to edit and all of that lot, and folks know how to cut a part off a sprue.
Yeah.
So
it's not so much. It's not just changing the way you film and stuff. It's also changing the audience, the way you put content to the audience, like you say. They know how to take things off a sprue. You're just going from, you're no longer doing it for the absolute new beginner. You're doing it for
absolutely. You know, it's different. It's different when you film for eModels because we're filming instructionals, we're filming tutorials a lot of the time. So,
and we could be filming for an absolute beginner. So
absolutely. So I treat my eModels builds as literally the average fella, the newbie's just gone and bought their first kit, and that's where the market I aim for. Whereas on my channel, people that have followed me for a number of years, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, if I'm filming a painting tutorial, it's a painting, not a building tutorial.
Yeah, so a lot of that I can change, which is good for me at the moment because my build series do take a lot longer at the moment, and I do apologise to people for that, but it's just how it is.
I mean, the only difference is, of course, if it's like you're doing a lot of custom work on a build, in which case, you want to show that.
Yeah.
Like if you're building it straight out of the box, then nobody cares.
Yeah,
but if you're doing lots of like custom stuff, then you're going to show that.
Once I've built my stash, what I've got, I'm actually changing my entire build philosophy on my channel because I'm going to go into a different way or different style of building because without going into too much detail, you know what I'm on about, Fox, but I've got to adapt how I do things going forward. So it's an opportunity for me to change things up a little bit and freshen up the channel, go into a slightly different direction with me building. So instead of them being quick builds with bits added, I can do more detailed dioramas and weathering effects on builds and make it more long-winded that way. So it just gives a bit of variation. There you go. I like that, actually. That's worked really well.
Jolly good. So yeah, I mean, when you're doing videos, there's no golden set rule. I mean, you can film a video and edit it however the hell you want, and that's how new things appear because people try new stuff. But just find the way that works for you. But ultimately, if memory's a problem, then don't go out and buy a new phone. Just change the way you film.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've only got a little bit of memory, just film in short snips. Film in takes. Don't film in one big blap. If you've got loads of memory, then you've got the option of doing either.
Well, the mistake we all made when we first started doing it is if you was filming a 25-minute episode, you would try and film it start to finish with full running commentary and edits in one hit. You can't do that.
No.
Well, and we all made that mistake when we first started, didn't we? We all thought that was how it was done. And
yeah, I mean, it's got to the point now where, because I used to be able to sit there and just talk to the camera non-stop.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. And I got so sick of doing take after take that I now I might film the introduction bit, but then when it comes to painting and stuff, I just film it without talking, and then I add the voiceover later.
Yeah.
Because if I've got one thing to paint and I do the talking while I'm painting it and I mess it up, I can't go back and unpaint it.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to film the painting and then we'll add the words later.
Yeah.
And even when I'm reading a script, I can still mess up the words and have to do like 15 takes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I have a teleprompter app on my computer that I do, and that for me works a treat because a lot of the time I forget me train of thought. So having that teleprompter, it's just a way of keeping on script, so to speak.
See, I'm not that sophisticated. I just have a notepad open. I just read it out of notepad.
Oh no, it's a good little app, mate. It's a proper white on black teleprompter, and you can set it to whatever speed you want. It's brilliant. I love it.
I'll have to get one of them.
Yeah, it really is a godsend for me because I forget.
There is the other thing as well is, and this is all inside baseball for YouTube content here, but the other thing as well is, I used to be against working off a script.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like, well, it's not natural though. You're not having a conversation, you're just reading off a script. But then, after a while, I realised that when I read a script, it didn't sound too bad. But there is another reason to do a script, and that is, if you write your script out, and then you do your voiceover, then when you upload your video to YouTube, you can upload that text file as a subtitle file.
Yeah, or a transcript, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah. And the reason you want to do that, and the reason I've stopped doing like live to camera bits as much, is because if you have actual captions on your video proper like subtitles, not or just auto-generated ones, because YouTube does it automatically. But if you actually upload or add proper captions, it massively increases your chances of your video being seen.
Yeah.
It gives your video a little push in the listings because you're accommodating people who need captions.
Yeah.
People with hearing impairments. So you get a little boost and it says, you know what, it'll be more visible, you're more likely to be shown off in featured areas and things like that. So I try and do that now. And it's easier to just have a text file you can upload.
Yeah.
Rather than having to write the captions out on YouTube. So yeah, so it's always a good idea if you can. Record voiceover, but keep a text file of it, write a script, and you can upload that and help your video's performance. Theoretically.
It's good practice.
Plus, it's also inclusive for people that really depend on closed captions and subtitles. If you haven't got them, YouTube's are pretty bad. So if somebody's hard of hearing and they depend on subtitles and you've not got them,
I've said it to folks before. If you want a good laugh, go and watch one of my videos with the captions on.
Oh yeah, I get the same.
It's brilliant.
But that's the thing. I mean, that's the only downside to live shows is you can't really add captioning unless somebody sits there afterwards and writes out everything that everybody said. It's not going to happen. So for people that have like hearing difficulties, pre-record, live shows and live shows after the fact are absolutely a waste of time, which is a shame. But yeah, so it's worth doing. It's worth if you can do voiceover with a script, because then you give yourself the advantage. Right, well, I was reading chat, wasn't I, ages ago?
But you're not gonna forget what you was gonna say either.
No. And the thing is, as I'm reading my script out, I do little ad libs, but then I make sure I write that into this, add that into the script.
Yeah.
Richard Thomas Scale Model World is in. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello,
Welcome to
Richard. How are you, pal?
Kevin says, I think everyday humour has changed today. Like Richard says, no family humour about these days. No. I mean, I'm not one of those people that suddenly says, oh, I don't get the humour of all these kids today, because I can appreciate, the youth humour. We're not like the older generation that we had that just didn't understand anything we liked, but...
No, they was all Ovaltinis, weren't they? Stuck in the 50s.
Yeah. Ovaltinis. That's the thing, right? Like when I was a young teenager, the old people didn't understand my culture at all.
No.
But now I'm that age, I'm the old people, and I understand. I don't understand fully youth culture, but I'm still, I make models, I play video games, I surf the internet. I won't understand half of the things teenagers would say, but I'm not like sitting here in my woolly hat and big fluffy slippers watching Songs of Praise.
We had our boys when we were quite young, so Lex is 30 soon, so we're still quite thing with them where we can have conversations with them and we're on their level, so to speak. But to hear my boys complain about millennials is quite funny when they go, kids of today, they go, and I'm like, really?
Yeah. But that's the thing, I mean, like, old people when I was a teenager, they were still stuck in the 1950s. And it's but how could you get to, say, 50? And not... Because it's like, my dad took me to see Star Wars in 1977, right? And I was 6 years old. I just cried all the way through. I didn't like it. I was like, ah! But my dad was, in his 40s?
Yeah.
Which means even in his 40s and then in his 50s, my dad was pretty much a geek.
Oh, right.
But other people's parents were like just boring and like they were like 19, and it's like, how can you get to an age and not have any cognizance of the world around you? It's just like these old people that were still stuck in the 50s when they were in their 80s. It's like, really?
Yeah, I was quite lucky with me mum because she, my baptism of music was me mum giving me Led Zeppelin 4. Go and have a listen to that, mate. That's, that'll get your old ear rolls working, son. And she was quite with it, with the scene, whereas the old man,
That's why I like ELO, because that's what my parents listen to. So.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't imagine getting to the point where I'm, say, 70 years old, and it's 2040, and I'm stuck in the 2000s. No, or the 1990s. It's like, no, I'll always be... Like I say, I wouldn't necessarily know... If I stood and listened to a couple of teenagers now, I wouldn't necessarily know what they're talking about. And I look at all these morons on Instagram, and I'm like,
Oh,
God,
yeah,
these people are
text
idiots.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, and these people are idiots. And it's like, I don't understand why people find this. Like the whole thing of like a TikTok video now has the caption right in the middle of the screen, covering up what you're looking at. It's like, that's just
Yeah, what's
stupid.
that all about?
But I can still sit there and I understand what TikTok is, and I play video games, and
absolutely.
I've got the latest console and all this.
I don't think we, as a generation, especially Gen X, I don't think we are as out of touch with this generation as our parents were with ours.
Yeah, I mean, just look at like the things that like 50 and 60-year-old wore in the 90s. They were wearing their slacks from Burton and their basically, if you watch A Touch of Frost, that's what middle-aged people wore. Those kind of like Burton coats for the cold weather, and that's what in the 90s there was nothing there. But like, I'm 50 years old and I'm wearing jeans and cargo pants and shorts and t-shirts with nonsense on them. So,
well, you think of it this way, right? We was born what? Oh, well, I was born 20 years after the end of the war. So they were still in that mindset, weren't they, a lot of people? There was a hell of a lot of
24.
rebuilding still going on.
24 years after the end of the war, mate.
Yeah, you know, there were still places getting rebuilt that were bomb damaged, so... Yeah.
Do you know what's really fun to do sometimes? Fun and scary. Is, like, I think about things and I think, for example, get this right. I thought this the other day and it floored me on the spot. I was like, there's from me leaving school to now is 6 more years than from the end of the World War II to my birth.
Yeah.
World War II is closer to my birth than the 1990 was to now. It's like, that's just insane.
Mind melt, isn't it?
Yeah, especially something momentous like, because you look at World War II and you think it's a whole different universe. Like, it was primitive, everything was black and white, people pooped in the gardens, but then you think it's like only 25 years before I was born.
Yeah,
and it's like, you know, and it really messes with your sense of time. I love that.
Yeah, it's just weird though, isn't it? You sort of when you think of it like that, yeah. But yeah, I still think our parents, and especially our grandparents, were still in that war mindset, weren't they? Rationing hadn't long been gone, had it, and all of that. And the country was still pretty much bankrupt, wasn't it, from the war?
Oh, yeah.
So
everything was brown and rationed.
Yeah.
Well, not rationed, not in that point, but yeah. That's why the 60s happened, is because the austerity of the 1950s following World War II.
Yeah.
Rationing was taken away and suddenly everybody had money.
Yeah.
Or more money, and the whole thing of all the psychedelic colours was because everything had been brown up until that point, grey, because nobody had money. It was all rationing.
Yeah.
That's why the 60s happened in the UK, because it was the removal of the austerity.
Pretty much every building was painted in the same shade of magnolia, wasn't it? That's all they had. You know, everyone had olive drab front doors because it was all the army surplus paint.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, a lot of people forget that pretty much after World War II, a lot of European countries were absolutely bankrupt. I mean, Britain was pretty much bankrupt, and we had a lot of money to pay the US because of Lend-Lease.
Yeah, we was on our knees, mate, weren't we, really?
I mean, when did rationing carry on to, like, the mid-50s or something?
56, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's like 11 years after the war finished, they were still had rationing.
There were still certain things or commodities that were rationed. Not everything was rationed, but
no.
There were still things that were hard to come by that you had to... A bit like during the pandemic, you was limited to toilet rolls, weren't you, and things.
Yeah.
And
I think it was a lot to do with A, we were bankrupt, but B, a lot of the supply chains weren't back in. Yeah. It was still hard to get stuff from various territories that had been completely decimated by the Germans.
Well, this is it, because a lot of industry that had been used for munitions was suddenly going back to its pre-war status, and that was all taking time.
Yeah. But then it's like all the stuff that we would have got from various countries in Europe and other places abroad, they were still recovering from having all their buildings blown up by the Nazis. So we weren't going to get X product of whatever country until they sorted themselves out. So.
And obviously our infrastructure was,
So it's weird though when you think it was like from the end of that to my birth compared to other things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's surprising, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the type of stuff we think about, though, isn't it? We'll often message each other, don't we, during the night, going, "Here, I was sat here thinking this," and it's like, yeah. And you go on Google journeys.
Well, it's like my dad was born in 36, and
right,
I suddenly realised that, like, I'm 52, I think this year. I think
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, you're 52 this year.
52 this year. I'm glad everybody else knows and I don't. And I suddenly realised it's like, because I think, you know, I'm not that old. I've not been around that long. I'm still making plastic models. And I think, yeah, but for my dad to be the same age, it'd be 1985.
Yeah.
And to me, 1936 to 1985 is a million years.
Yeah.
But from 1971 to now is like half an hour. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, but I sat here the other day and I was thinking, when I first met my missus, it's 1984.
Yeah.
Dude, that's 40 years ago.
Yeah. I think some of it is, especially when we think about, like I said about my dad being 36 to 85, I think what makes it feel less for us is what's changed since I was born.
Oh, yeah.
I
Technology.
think... Well, I think it's less because, like, compare 1971 to now, there's a lot of things that are still basically the same.
Yeah.
You'll get in your car, you'll go to work, you'll come home, you'll make the dinner, you'll watch telly. There's obviously things on top, like you've got a smartphone and there's an internet. But if you boil it down to the brass tacks, it's still get up, go to work, come home, watch telly, make the dinner, you know, shout at the kids, read a book, whatever. It's not that much different. You're not pooping in the garden. You're not having to cut wood for your... Unless you're some poncy middle-class person with a wood burner. But from 1936 to 19...
Don't hold back, will you?
Yeah. But if you think, like, my dad's life, from 1936, what life was like then, to what life was like in 1985, it's a whole different way of life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it becomes interesting and confusing, because life, to me, doesn't seem that different. It's just the cars are better and we've got the internet.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. It's still the same. If I was 50 now in 1971, I'd probably still be doing the same. Apart from this, I won't be doing live streaming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we look back at the 70s with such fondness, and I bet if we was to go back there in a time machine, it would actually be quite bland.
Glum. Grim. Yeah.
3-day week and all of that. Yeah.
But I think it's more to be the difference, because I think the difference from my dad's youth to his 50s was vastly different from my youth to my 50s.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't feel like the same passage of time. We're talking really weird and deep at the same time.
Yeah, but it's...
Pulled your tomatoes off?
Yeah, I read that one, mate.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
No, that's all right, mate.
Dorkosaurus asks, what editing software do you like?
When I use Adobe, is what I use. I use Premiere Pro, After Effects, but I also do a bit with DaVinci Resolve as well, because it's, you know, a bit of software that I'm learning at the moment for when I migrate from Adobe.
And it's free.
Yeah, and it's free, so yeah.
Is it open source as well?
Yeah, it's open source, yeah.
Yeah, which means it actually gets updated by people that use it.
Yeah, so, you know, because my support for Adobe runs out soon, and I'm not going to pay the exorbitant price that the subscription will cost. So I'm migrating over to the open source platform, so...
He's like a herd of wildebeest, he's migrating.
Yeah, so... And not only that, I find it interesting learning new software, so...
Yeah, whereas I'm the opposite. I hate learning new software because I always suck at it.
Yeah.
I started out using Windows Movie Maker, which is rubbish, but it's free and it's a good way to start out just to get the basics. And then I moved to a program called Movavi, M-O-V-A-V-I, which isn't free. And it's not got all the bells and whistles that Cole's got on Adobe or DaVinci. But it's good enough for me to be able to edit a video, put titles on, do a few basic special effects, and that's it. That's all I need. So I use that, Movavi. I know it now anyway, so...
That's it. It's what you're familiar with. Not all people like Adobe. Not all people like DaVinci. You find a piece of software, and if it works for you and you're comfortable using it, that's the one for you.
I mean, the thing about your Photoshops and stuff like that is, like, it's a paid service nowadays.
Yes.
And it's professional software, so it's like, well, if you want to produce lots of videos with lots of effects and all kinds of good stuff, then absolutely go for it. But if you're just making like simple, like we make, it's a bit of editing with maybe a nice title, you don't need to spend all that money on professional software to do that, because you're buying a Formula One car to go to the shops.
Yeah. I mean, I'm often asked why I use Adobe. It's only because I had it when I had the trike business, because I used to use Adobe Illustrator and InDesign.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the graphics were done in that, and renderings and that. So I had the full Adobe suite for the business back then. So that's the only reason I use it. If I hadn't have done that in the past and was starting up, then programs like Mojave or DaVinci Resolve would be the way I would go, because it's free.
It's what you need. But it's like, if you're say Captain Disillusion, you want to make lots of complex videos with lots of complex effects, things like that. If you go and watch his stuff, it's all about how videos are made.
Yeah.
Then you need that kind of professional top end software. But if you're just making stuff like we make, you don't actually need all the bells and whistles. Or if you get software that's free like DaVinci, then you get all those bells and whistles without having to pay all the money for it. You don't need professional broadcast quality software to do a YouTube video on how to paint a model.
God, no.
If you're doing a video that needs that kind of stuff, then yes, it's an expense you can justify. But like I say, you don't need to go and buy your local mine's excavator truck and massive backhoe to dig a little hole in your garden to put a plant in, do you?
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of other similes, but I'm failing at the minute.
It's...
If you're making simple videos, Adobe's not
sometimes
worth the money.
simplicity is the easiest way to look at it. You go for the simple option, and I don't mean that in a detrimental way.
No.
But sometimes, as I've found with video editing software, some software programs are so bloated with stuff that you'll never ever use. A bit like iTunes went, didn't it? That became very bloated.
I never used it. I refused to use it because I hated it.
Yeah, it's one of them. So that's what I like about DaVinci, because sometimes with Adobe, you're going from Premiere to After Effects, then back again, and adding all the different stuff, whereas in Resolve, it's all there.
Yeah.
Everything is in the one app. And if you want to do Photoshop stuff, just download GIMP. That's open source.
But it's like, the most complex thing I will do is, because the kind of stuff I do is literally, I'm basically cutting footage up to edit it together.
Yeah.
Any software can do that. I will add some titles, and the majority of the titles are simply, it's usually a load of PNGs that I make in Photoshop, just to make them transparent pictures, because then you can have things overlaid on each other. If there's any special effects, it's either whatever's built into the software. It's really basic stuff in Mojave. Yes. Or I might go to, there's a place called productioncrate.com.
Yeah, I know it, yeah.
They do a lot of like rotoscope stuff, images, special effects, all kinds of little, and they're just like transparent PNGs but animated. Like sparks going across the screen, it's transparent, and you just get them and you use them, and if you can pay for it, or you can get like 5 free as long as you sign up.
Yeah.
And it's usually that I use the simplest ways possible. So if I had Adobe and After Effects, I wouldn't use any of that.
No, I mean, the only reason it comes in handy for me is I do a lot of green screen stuff and things like that, and play with stuff, because I just like goofing around with stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I can do that on Mojave, but I can't do it to the same level as After Effects and stuff. The only thing I really wish I could do, which I know you can do in After Effects, is where you have a caption, but it follows something, so you can lock it. Like you have to do that. And the caption
motion
stays
tracking.
There. Yeah, I can't do that, and I wish I could, because it's great for comedy, but I can't do that.
Yeah, motion tracking stuff is great fun.
But I can do very simple animation effects and stuff in Mojave, and that's all. If you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend things like Adobe and stuff, because the most you're going to be doing is literally editing the video down and maybe adding a title, maybe the odd special effect.
Yeah. But what
I would also
do,
I'd also go for the free option first to see if you even like editing, because editing's, if you've never done it before, it's a whole skill set.
Oh yeah. This is why we're all changing how we do our videos, because it can be a ball ache as well, can't it, mate?
Yeah.
You know, and it's hours and hours and hours go into it, and you're like, yeah, it's a 20-minute video.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you kind of have to watch your own video at least 3 times every time you make a video. Which is tiring after a while.
I never used to do, and having been caught out many times.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you know that video you done? Yeah. You know the second half there's no audio. Oh.
Yeah, because I just used to film it, put a title at the beginning and a credit at the end, and just upload it. And
I was started off the same, but I think what I'll do now, I'll do the same. I basically have templates, so I do the same. The only thing I do extra now is I will go in and I'll deliberately remove any little audio niggles that I don't want. Let's say I do a I'm talking. Or if I do a talking, I do a kind of in the middle of a sentence, like smack my lips by accident. I'll take that out. I'll also do some color balancing and post production just to change the hue and color and stuff, because my current iPhone films things a little bit pale, a little bit underexposed, undersaturated. So yeah, but that's the thing about filming model builds. First of all, the build takes 4 times as long.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend a whole day or 2 editing. It's like, and you wonder why we don't get through many builds.
Yeah. That's why we don't film every single build.
Yeah.
Because, you like to be able to do a build for yourself every now and then, don't you?
Yeah.
No filming, a vanilla build, as I would call it, but yeah.
Nope. And the thing to remember is, unless you're somebody like Night Shift who can build like an entire tank and diorama to museum quality in a week, which how he does that, I don't know.
My friends.
If you're somebody like me who takes 6 months to build one single miniature, then it's like, you know what? Yeah. I'm gonna try and simplify the filming process as much as I can. I've done my barrels.
Oh, we've all been caught out.
I've done my ends.
I'm proud of you, soldier.
I did suddenly realise though that on this one there's a little bit of Sharpie on the other side of that plastic card, and I'm like, oh, I must have doodled on the card or something. So it's like, I'll put it that way around because I don't want that showing up through the paint.
Yeah, spin it. Yeah, no one will see it. Good man. I like what you're doing.
Don't ever draw on a model with a Sharpie, because that will come through the paint. Trust me. Yeah,
Dorkosauruses. Free works for me. Absolutely, mate. Free always
try
works.
Try that Da Vinci then. I mean, if it's free, then you may as well go for it. It's got loads of the bells and whistles, because then you can see if you even need them. But you've not paid a penny.
Exactly.
He's thinking of doing an instalment video of the LED underglow kit for the bike. There you go. And then you can do more videos after that, and before you know it, you're a successful YouTuber with the Ferrari.
Absolutely.
Not that I'd want a Ferrari, because they're rubbish. I tell you what, nothing makes you hate supercars and luxury sports vehicles than having to detail them and realise how crap most of them actually are.
You ever tried reversing a Countach?
No, thankfully not. But it's like,
you've got to have your head out with the scissor door up, because you can't see through the letterbox that's supposed to be the rear window.
It's like, I will never ever buy an Aston Martin, because I know the absolute garbage on the inside.
Yeah.
They're absolute nonsense. They're just terrible.
So easily damaged, isn't it, the interior?
Well, I was working on one, and it was it's about 5-6 years ago, so it's whatever the Vantage, whatever the Vanquish, whatever it was at the time. And it's like the actual centre console in my old Land Rover Series 3, I had bits of hardboard with plastic veneer stapled on them.
Yes,
that was your centre. It was the same.
Yeah,
it was pretty much plastic veneer on a bit of wood, and it came out, and I'm like, oh, it's come out, and it was stapled. I'm like, this is
people
like
think it's real veneer, don't it? And it's like, no, it isn't.
This is 1970s Land Rover quality. Oh, the fact it was in and out the shop all the time for the guy who owned it. It was brand new and it kept breaking down.
Switches with old Morris Marina part numbers on.
I mean, this guy had a Diablo, and he had this Aston Martin, and he had a big Porsche thing, the top of the range Porsche SUV, and the nicest one was the Porsche SUV. Yeah. And that was the one with all the dribble on the seats and the action figures in the back, because the kids were in there, and it's like...
it's like, really?
Both of his Lambo and they were in the shop all the time, and he's like, he said, I wish I hadn't bought these now. They were just, because they're just a pain in the arse.
Well, yeah, it's an impulse buy, isn't it, really, I suppose?
Well, it was for him, because he was quite wealthy, but And he was the most down to earth guy you'd ever know. He'd come out with a couple of beer cans in his hand. Do you want a beer, lads? I was like, well, I'm doing you 500 grand car. I don't really want a beer. He was a really nice guy. I think his family business had been really successful, but he was so down to earth.
Yeah, fair play to him.
So update the chat and see what's happening. Swig of my coffee. My friends.
Yeah, no, my chat, literally, my last comment is Dorkosaurus. McLeish is in. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord, he says they haven't broke it yet. No.
Nope.
No, we're doing really, really well, Andy.
He nearly finished his build.
Me? No, I ain't got loads to do yet.
You've got a big shooty stick on the front and that's about it now.
No, I ain't got all my side sponsons and all of that gubbins to put on yet.
I've not even finished doing me track units.
Yeah, I've welded it.
Little bit of welding.
Got me underneath with me nuts and bolts on it.
Underneath, the little bit of underneath.
Yeah, get your nuts and bolts here. £3 for £1.
Butts and nolts.
Yeah, not 2 for £1. 3 for £1.
I love the way these bits that the fuel tanks go on, they can just slide them in because they stay in place perfectly. They're just so tight.
Brilliant, aren't they?
I have to glue them.
Let's swap
I will, though, of course.
a bit of power on there, and then I can weld the bottom of that on then.
Welding power! Now, I'm not going to get rid of these mould lines on the drums just yet because the squish will still be squishy.
Yeah, that's why I haven't sanded my barrels yet.
Yes, I'm going to leave them for now.
It's got all of the squishy glue on it still.
Squishy glue. How long do you want to go for, buddy?
It's up to you, mate. I mean, what are we now? It's 2 o'clock now. What do you want to stage? Do you want to get to?
No, I'm easy. I'll go as long as you want to. It's more, how long can you go for?
I'll pass at the latest.
Okay.
If that's all right,
cool.
mate.
Yeah. No, I'm fine. I can go off and make Mama Wolf brews when I need to, so it's not a problem for me.
Yeah, because I can sort of fettle. I'm not going to go massive on anything additional yet because I want this to dry out.
Yes, well, I'm gonna glue my back parts on, if you pardon the expression. But I'll get that done. The only thing with these little back parts is they're quite tricky. You don't know which is which, and there's no indication as to which one is which. So you have to make sure you get the right one.
Get your back parts here.
Back parts, ba la 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 la.
How many for £1? 3 for £1.
3 for £1. Get him while they're hot. Yeah. Get him whilst they're hot. Let's get these cleaned up. The beauty of these things is... Oh, no, it's not the beauty of these things. Never mind. The nubs are in the hidden bit, but you've got the mould line that goes right down all the ribbed area.
Yeah. They really didn't think that through when they made them, did they?
Well, I suppose they had to put the mould line somewhere. Talking about the mould line. I just brought funk into the
Mind you,
table,
though, it is quite an old kit, isn't it? So... early
2007.
Yeah.
2007? 2007.
Isn't it funny, isn't it, when you say it's an old kit and you're still talking about stuff in the early 2000s? It's like,
yeah,
don't seem that long ago, does it? But, yeah.
It's like the original Xbox is now classed as a vintage console. It's like, oh, that was my first proper console. Oh. My Binatone Pong machine is a vintage console. Let's move on from that now. Original Xbox. Oh. There's people alive today in employment whose first console was an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3, and it's like, oh, no. That's not right. It's not right.
It's when you try to explain... I mean, I had this conversation with my eldest lad, and I hooked up my Sega Mega Drive.
Oh, yeah.
And loaded Super Monaco Grand Prix on it. I said, now, there you go.
Super Monaco GP.
How on earth did you used to play games like that with such bad graphics? I said, at the time, that was cutting edge. I said, I'll go one better than that. I've got a Binatone in the loft, which is the 10 game one, and it's got Pong on it.
Is it orange and black? Because ours was.
It's orange and black, yeah.
Yeah, we had that one.
Yeah. He was gobsmacked, you know. He was like, really? Well,
We used to
yeah,
play
that's
ours on
what
a
we
little
had.
black and white portable TV with a silver spinny dial that had all the bits sticking out like some kind of like 1960s space tech.
Cathode ray tellies. Again, you know, cathode ray TVs, you know, when they go, God, look at that weird telly. And it's like, ain't weird. That's what we all had.
Yeah,
Yourself lucky that you had colour. When I was a kid, it was black and white.
yeah. The thing is, though, there's the irony is, because I was watching I don't know if you watch any of the videos from Digital Foundry. They're really cool.
No, I haven't, mate.
There's Eurogamer, which is like a gaming website, but they've got a sister company called Digital Foundry.
Oh, right.
And they do real in-depth analysis, technical analysis of video games and hardware. Game hardware and stuff. Like proper, deep, in-depth. And they're really cool. But they did a video on, like, playing modern consoles on CRTs.
Oh, right, yeah.
They're saying, you know, we all know about getting an old retro console and sticking it to a modern LED TV, and it looks terrible because there's. But the guy was looking at CRT, you know, what's it like playing on a CRT TV today, and they had this specific one which was like a professional CRT monitor, so it was like a professional broadcast standard, but it was an old TV.
Yeah, another one.
And they were playing, I think, Control on their PS5 and Series X. And he said it's amazing, but you know, even if you've got your expensive modern LED TVs with variable rate refresh, 120 hertz, and all this kind of stuff, HDR, 4K, if you put it through a CRT, it looks more better.
Yeah.
Because of course the CRT kind of smudges things and softens things, and it. He said there is. Of course, it's not got HDR. You don't get HDR, but there is some benefit in certain situations to using an old CRT.
A prime example of that would be Grim Fandango. It plays far better on a CRT, or you know, looks far better on a CRT.
Yep.
Yeah.
But even modern consoles, they said it just makes things look a lot more like natural to the eye.
Yeah.
He said, but of course the technical difficulty of hooking up a modern console to an old CRT is not insignificant.
Well, this is it. It's a bit like PlayStation 2 with HDMI in it. You know, you've got a multitude of adapters that you have to faff around with, but it's still not the greatest.
There's actually, there are in fact not. Because I've got a modded Xbox One and I've got a modded Xbox 360, and they're like refurbished and modded and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
my PS2 is
yeah. The 360's got HDMI, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the Xbox One, the original Xbox from 2001, doesn't have any HDMI. But I happen to have the high def composite set that I got from my original Xbox all back in the year.
Yeah.
So I can plug it into the composite input on my modern TV.
Yeah. That's
but
how
if
my
I didn't have
PlayStation 2's connected through composite.
Yeah. But if I didn't have that, I'd be struggling because although you can get things that can take the old outputs from, say, old original Xboxes and PlayStation 2s and put them into HDMI, none of them are very good.
No, there's a lot of YouTube videos bemoaning them, isn't there?
Yeah, there's no actual real guaranteed solution to taking an old composite or, you know, output or RGB output from an old console into HDMI without there being some issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got an old PS2. Mama Wolf's got an old PS2 here that I would love to hook up, but I've just got no way to connect it up.
Yeah.
So I was lucky when I got my my modded Xbox from this company that does like modded old consoles. I already had the HD cable kit.
Yeah.
Which means I can use those composite inputs on my TV, which is a godsend. And the 360 is already HDMI. I'm like, I said, is it an HDMI? Is it one of the later ones? You went, yeah. That's all. Thank God for that.
Yeah, but that's just you know, just our technology's changed even since then.
Yeah. Not a lot of TVs anymore have like composite. We're lucky that they still have composite. A lot of TVs don't have like SCART or anything like that, because a lot of the old consoles they were either SCART or composite, and that's it.
Yeah, our one next door, that's got SCART, HDMI, USB, composite, and what was the other one? The square one. What's that called?
Not DVI.
No. It was basically like a video cable pre HDMI. I can't think what it was called. S-Video, is it? Something like that?
Yeah, it might be S-Video, that's the one.
Little tiny thing, when it was like a fibre optic-y type cable.
Yeah, like the
yeah.
The fibre optic is the... yeah, I know what you mean.
You know the one I
mean? Yeah,
because
that's the thing. It's like, if you've got the options, like SCART is terrible.
Oh, it's useless, isn't it?
S-Video is awful.
Yeah.
Composite is probably the best you're going to get.
Yeah.
From an old console, and it's actually not bad at all. There is also some do have RGB inputs. I think I had a TV that had an RGB. No, I had a TV with a VGA input.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And I actually had when I had my first 360, my first Xbox 360.
Yeah.
They didn't have HDMI. It had SCART, composite, or you could buy a VGA cable. So I actually had my original 360 into the back of my TV via VGA, and it gave me the best quality picture.
Mine's got VGA. It's got a DVI.
Yep.
HDMI, because it was one of these PC TVs, and it was the first gen 3D TV that came out.
Oh yeah. I think mine now has just got. I've got a Samsung, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
LDP 3542-474XBL.
Yeah. There's so many letters and numbers after it. Yeah.
Eventually, you figure out what it all means. But that's got like HDMI 1, 2, and 3. HDMI 1, 2, 3. It's got audio return on one, and then it's got like composite. Yeah. And I think it has. No, that's it. That's composite. Composite and HDMI.
Just changed the power board on my Samsung. 15-year-old TV, and one of the capacitors failed on it, and just stripped it down, got the board out, desoldered the cap, put a new cap in, fired it up, boom, working again. It's like, saved me a small fortune. Why buy a new telly?
I was having a major problem with my TV, right, when I was playing games on any console, especially on the Series X, that if I was walking into a room and there was, say, a transparency texture with lots of lines, like, say, a grill or a mesh.
Yeah.
Or say it was a tree, you could see all the leaves on the tree.
Oh, right,
every time I moved a little bit, it kind of went dark light, every time something moved. So if you walked past a stone wall, it would go dark when it moved and then light when it stopped. And I spent ages trying to figure this out on the forums, on the internet, all this stuff. And I was like, I must have either really crappy cable or there's just a problem with this TV. Went through all the settings. I changed my HDMI cable several times until I got my series console, and then I got the one that came with that. And do you know what it was in the end?
What?
The sharpness was set to 100%.
No.
But the menu said it was set to 0.
Yeah.
So, because I went in, and I was like, well, sharpness is on 0. So I dragged it all the way up, and it was still doing it. Dragged it all the way down, it stopped. So all it was the UI on the TV said it was off when it was on. Because when you turn the sharpness all the way up, then it was doing this flicky, and it was like, oh, and it turned it all the way off. I'm like, oh, it's stopped doing it now. Brilliant.
Yeah, and that makes you feel like that, doesn't it? When something like that happens, you're like, oh, really?
I didn't. Well, I was a bit happy because it was the telly was actually in wrong. It was saying it was off when it was on. So I'm like, okay, well, I can live with that. That's not my mistake then. But still, it had been a good 2 years. Frustration and anger.
But no, when ours was going into what they called a standby loop, where it would go into standby and it would just, the relay inside was clicking on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. And it's literally, one of the capacitors had gone bad and that was it. But how many people have thrown out a perfectly good television just for the sake of a 70 pence capacitor? Or
well, that's the thing, because you don't get TV repairmen anymore, do you?
No, you don't.
In the old days, you'd go take it to the TV repair guy, and he'd charge you 100 quid for a 10-minute fix. But
we live in a throwaway society now, whereas, I'm quite lucky in a way that, I've got the equipment here where I can fault diagnose, test the circuit, and sit and desolder and resolder it. I know not everyone can do that. But
Yeah.
the amount of money it saved me. I mean, what's a TV now? Decent 55, 60 inch. You know,
600-700 quid.
600-700
least.
quid. You know, and it's
For
like,
that size, yeah, probably.
you know, cheap capacitor done.
But that's the thing. It's
My missus was well impressed. I earned super duper brownie points for that.
oh, very good. Well, that's the new thing that's come in, though, isn't it? A lot of countries, I think, in this country as well, we've passed more right to repair laws.
Yes.
So for things like products like, say, iPhones and stuff, where if you open it up and tinker with it or try and get it fixed by a non-authorised dealer, you break your warranty and you're screwed. Nowadays, I think Apple have been told you have to allow people to fix their own
H's
stuff.
iWatch. That's the battery out of her iWatch, and look how it had swollen up, the lithium-ion battery.
Oh, yeah?
And it popped the face of her watch off. Now, you know, she was going to go and buy a new watch. Well, that's all right, change the battery.
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, I just can't believe you can do stuff like that. And I said, well, I change all the batteries in my phones when they wear out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing now. Legally, the companies can't stop you doing that.
Can't stop you doing it, no.
So if you take it to do it yourself or take it to when they do it and then there's still a problem, you can still send it back to Apple if it's in warranty. It doesn't void your warranty anymore.
Yeah, no,
Right, I've put my bits on. Put my end piece on, Mr. and Mrs. End piece.
I'm proud of you, soldier.
I've got to clean up my barrels.
I need to slow down, don't I?
Yeah, you need to slow down. Well, it doesn't matter because you can just spend twice as long painting it.
Yeah, mind you, though, I've still got all my desanding and all of that lot to do. It's just I've got that together, welded. I've still got all my exhausts and all the
Don't forget,
ancillaries.
you've got like 100%. You've got like 1,000 less pieces in your turret because your turret's like a gun and the square bit, whereas I've got all the turret and stuff to build yet. So.
Absolutely. So, you know,
So
don't
yours
worry
is a
about
fast
it.
build.
It is that's what I was saying earlier. It's an easy build, but I've been eyeballing what's left over, and already my brain is going.
Oh yeah.
It kind of looks a bit naked compared to the Insane Blade, but I don't want to go mad.
Yeah. Maybe you can get away with it by printing off some, or buying or printing some like accessories like duffel bags and things. And
Yeah, I'm going to go. I've got a load of stowage that I'm going to add to it. You
or
know,
get some. See if eModels have got an E135th that might fit. 135th stowage that might work.
I've got a load, mate, that I've already got set up on my CAD program, mate, that I've been doing. 35th stowage, mate. I've got shed loads of it. Jerry cans, oil drums,
Jerry
bags,
cans,
rucksacks, roll mats, you name it. Got
roll
loads
mats.
of it.
I'm thinking what we can pimp to people to buy from eModels. You see,
all the paints. You need all the paints. They do Citadel paints, don't they? So you know.
Yep.
Obviously, go and buy baneblades because you can build along with us.
Of course. Yes. But you're further ahead than I am.
Yeah, but it's a really easy one to do. I think I've chosen a very simple variant, to be honest with you.
And what I've just noticed as well is it's confirmed it now.
I've still got
for some
aerials and turrets to do.
Oh, yeah. But I've just looking at yours now, it's confirmed it for me, because I've always suspected for some reason, whenever people build this left track unit, or right from our point of view, always sits a bit like that, like not straight. It's always a bit. And I've noticed you've got exactly the same now. It's a little bit.
It's a quirk, mate. It's you know, and that
it's by design.
Yeah, that's been levered. That's been warmed up. It's been and it still goes back. So it's like whatever.
But if you look at the box art, it has the same thing. Then they fit. They're just a little bit off like that. So if you're building this yourself, don't worry. That track by design is a little bit winky wonky.
The only way you can do it is to lift the track up and put a little styrene sliver under it.
But I wouldn't worry because it's.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's going on just a little tiny oval. Well, I say tiny. It's going on
a little tiny.
Yeah, it's going on an oval floor basically, just to give it something to sit on, so it can be disguised.
Going on a small base, or like we'd call it, shelf.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it with that little part. Oh, yeah, you know.
No. It looks like a valve, doesn't it? Like a window.
It's like, oh, I've got a gun. It's like,
But, I mean, I'm doing the main Beyblade because you're doing the variant. I'll do the main one.
I'm doing the shadow sword down there, but even there, I'm looking at the front thinking it does look a bit naked, doesn't it? It needs something, but
Needs a whole mess of dead orcs splonged on the front.
Yeah. We'll see, but I don't want to get carried away with it. I want to, do a variant that would be technically playable.
Yeah.
And it lets people that may not have built a baneblade, that haven't got that insane blade mentality, so to speak.
Yeah, well, we're kind of doing it as a box build, aren't we, really? So
pretty much out the box,
really,
innit? We're doing a straight variant and going for it that way.
A little bit here and there where we fill the gap with a bit of plastic card, but nothing major.
No, I mean, the only scratch building it's got underneath there is that rivet line.
Yeah, but that's allowed.
Just to disguise that seam. That's why I fired up that, wasn't it? It was just a
I might have to do the same now. Although you don't actually see that one, but the thing this gets me, right, they've put all this lovely detail underneath. All the other Games Workshop tanks, you don't get all that, relatively get all that detail. But
especially the Rogel Dawn doesn't give it a floor, does it?
Well, yeah, big hole in the floor. Nonsense.
There you go. That's why I fired that back up, was to weld that bit of white placky together.
Yeah.
Happy days.
But yeah, so it's coming on slowly. Yeah. I was going to say that. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, going back to the whole thing about 1990s capacitors.
Yeah.
Any electronic device that was built between 95 and 2004, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because there was a whole capacitor cancer thing, wasn't there?
Yes, it affected most Windows PCs. The amount of iMac G5s that I got back to repair was amazing. That kept me in food and water for a good few years.
Yeah, the original Xbox had the same problem. It was one specific capacitor that was used for the onboard clock.
Yeah.
So if you get an old Xbox now, if you buy an old original Xbox, the first thing you have to do is ask the person selling it, have you replaced the cap? No. Okay, then the first thing you do is you open it and take that capacitor out because it's probably leaked.
Yeah. Reflowing and re-bowling the main chip on the Xbox 360. Do you remember the red ring of death?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
because the connections would break because
connections were useless, and the X clamps, weren't it? And basically the solder would crack, and you'd have to re-bowl it, reflow it all, and that was good money.
Yeah, well, they made good on it though with the later versions, and they replaced them all. I went through about 5 360s.
I still have an iMac G5 out there that has got to have the capacitors changed on it, and I've got them all in the drawer just now.
But apparently, I didn't know this, right? But for people that don't know, basically in the late 90s and early 2000s, one single company manufacturing capacitors in China somewhere made basically a bad batch of capacitors. Now, when I say bad batch, I mean millions of them, millions and millions of capacitors. It was this one batch they made over about 2 or 3 years. And these capacitors went in everything, and the problem with them was that after about a year or two they would basically leak and swell and potentially leak horrible stuff all over your circuit board and destroy all the contacts and wipe out your circuit board. Original Xboxes had this. I think PlayStations had a similar thing.
PlayStations, iMacs.
Yep. In the original Xbox it was just the clock capacitor, so anything you buy from that period you have to be really careful that
computers, the PSUs, anything like that, televisions.
Yep. So, because in those days, a lot of onboard clocks, like you turn your computer on, it knows what time it is. Like, you turn your Xbox on, it knows what the date is because you set the date when you first bought it. It's not a battery; it was a capacitor that held the charge and kept it updated, the clock updated until you turned it back on again, because they didn't have a battery on it in those days. So a lot of them things, if the clock doesn't work, you'd need to get it open quick because the boards. But it was called it was like capacitor cancer, they called it. And this one company destroyed consumer electronics for like 10 years.
Oh, yeah, because all the big companies went out and bought it all because it was cheap.
Yeah, they made it dead cheap. Everybody used their capacitors, and about 4 years later,
Microsoft, Apple, all of that lot all went out and bought, oh, look, they're a third of the price. We'll buy a shed load of them then. And Yeah, McLeish says there, he says, I'm not a smart cookie when it comes to wiring, but I bought a Samsung again, recycled his old TV, and when I asked to get it looked at, no one was interested. This is the thing, Andy, they're not. But, you know, this is where eBay can come in, Andy, because you get your model number off your TV. And, you know, that's all I did with my boards, and I sourced the capacitors and got the repair kit, and it's like, yeah, I'll have that.
And McLeish was asking if that little square socket you were talking about was the optical in, because that was for audio.
Yes.
You weren't talking about. Yeah, because
I know the one you mean. Yeah, it was a little tiny thing about 10 mil by 10 mil, if that.
Yeah, like a barn shape. Well, that's the optical.
Yeah, and it had like looked like a cat flap door on it, and yeah.
I've got my surround system for my Xbox is actually an old Creative Labs surround system from about 2003.
Really?
And the problem I've got, I love it though, it's great, but the problem I've got is it's got basically optical in, which has been fine since 2003 when I bought it.
Yeah.
Until I got my Xbox Series X, which is the first console that doesn't have an optical out audio.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is I have to have the HDMI goes out to the TV.
Oh, right, yeah.
In fact, my HDMI out goes out to the TV and then uses the TV's audio return channel to have optical out on the TV going into the optical in on my surround system, which is great, apart from it picks up a high-pitched whine that's very quiet, but it's there. It's like, oh,
it's there, yeah.
It's not coil whine, it's just this, it's, oh.
So it's almost like an RF hum, is it?
Yeah, it's like but I know it's the audio channel because when the screen goes blank, say between loading screens, it stops. So it's just But it makes me sad that if they just put an optical out on the Xbox, I would have had just beautiful clear surround.
Yeah, but
it works. It's just not ideal.
It's one of those because I'm sure someone will come up with some adapter because you know these companies that make adapters, you know, they're not daft. They don't know
you can get splitters and stuff, but I think the point was they just thought that most people don't have optical in anymore, so there's no point.
Yeah.
I think most people now have HDMI going out from the console to the surround system and then from the surround system to the TV. So
yeah, that's it, yeah.
On a pass-through.
Bobbins is in saying hello. He says, YouTube's algorithm's getting smarter. He's just watched an advert for the Airfix 24th scale Spitfire.
Spitfire, na 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 na.
Yeah, Andy, yeah. I mean, my brand of telly, it's known for the main high voltage row of capacitors going, and sometimes it'll pop the relay as well. So, you know, you can get a little kit for it, which was the relay, a set of capacitors, some diodes and fuses, and I just desoldered them all and just put the lot in. And like I say, you know, touch wood, it fired up straight away and it's been perfect ever since.
And this is why Festa gets really stressed out when he says to me, I'm going to send you a graphics card. And I say, how the hell am I going to do it? I don't know how to install that. I don't know what I'm doing. And this is the guy who can fix his own TVs and I can't even put a graphics card in a computer. And he's like, how can you not know how to do that? I don't know. I can't even wire a plug.
Undo the screws, plug the board in, put the screws on the case and switch it on and it detects it. Well, it's actually one screw.
I don't know I wouldn't know where to put it or what to do with it or how
it can
to
only
do the software.
Fit on one slot on the motherboard, which is the long one.
Yeah, but I'd still get it wrong. I wouldn't even know where to connect it. So this is why he gets frustrated when I say I can't do things like that.
Oh, yeah, it's like, dude, there's a slot on the motherboard. He's got the same motherboard as me. That's what makes me laugh. And it's like, it's that one there. But, yeah.
I don't know any of these things.
Yeah. Bless him. He don't get out much. That's his
like saying, what do you mean you can't do open heart surgery? Just do it. Just open the heart and do the surgery. What?
Yeah. But again, it's like anything. If it's not something you're used to doing, a good man knows his limitations. And if you're not sure what you're doing, then don't tamper. It makes logical sense, doesn't it?
Everyone knows exactly how to do the thing that they know how to do. Other than
absolutely. That, you know, not everyone is able to do it. You know, I'm lucky that, you know, when I bought like video players or DVD, I'd always take the cover off. Let's have a look inside, see what's in there, because
McLeish says HDMI 2 carries the audio signal. Yes, I know. That's why I've got it going through my Elgato into the TV and then out to my surround. I've got HDMI 2.1.
Yeah, seriously, Andy, he cannot wire a plug, even though it comes with a little bit of cardboard on it with a picture. No.
Yeah.
But dare I say it, he's sensible enough to know he can't do it. Therefore, he's not going to fucking. He's not going to get an electric shock.
Yeah, but the ironic thing is, right, having said all that, I can't even wire a plug. But if you'd have seen my recording studio setup when I had my recording studio with all my synthesizers and stuff and all the equipment. Because that was like, there were 16, 17, I had a big mixing desk with like 18 different connections in it.
Exactly.
Plus power. There was all the audio in, audio out, the back, there was all the effects boxes and rack equipment that had all the wires, and I had to go into all the mixers and all that. And I somehow figured all that out without any instructions.
Absolutely. And so you are, you do put yourself down sometimes, and you're not as inept as you think you are. We've all got things that we can do that others can't.
Well,
and
I think I had a moment of like a savant moment, because when I had to move my recording studio from an actual studio to like this house, I brought all the kit back and I got it all ready. And I was like, right, I need to do all the wiring now. And I'm like, crap, I have no idea. I'd used it for I'm like, I don't know which audio goes to which mixer, and
oh, bless you.
Yeah, no, but I am that inept.
Yeah, but it's
if
not
I don't
a bad
have to do
thing,
something,
because especially with high voltages and that, if it's something you're not sure of, especially if you haven't discharged the capacitors, you can get a nasty zap.
It's more like fiddling with the one computer I have in the world that is what I need for my job.
Yeah.
And I can't afford a new one, so I don't want to break it.
This system's just had what's his name? PCI USB card put in with another 7 ports on it because of things that I can't go into that are now connected to things. I needed additional ports.
Yeah. But it's like me. It's like I could stick a graphics card in there. What if I don't have enough power? What if I can't figure out how to set the software up? What if I haven't connected it right? Where does it?
It's plug and play, Fox. You plug it in and Windows sets it up for you, mate.
What if I've not got enough power going through the PC?
Your computer's like the same motherboard as mine, mate. You'll have a spare lead on your power supply. It's the same. You've got the same system as I've got, mate.
You'd think so, but you know what my looks like. And
every motherboard can accept a graphics card, Fox. You haven't got the world's only computer that hasn't got the port on it.
But it's like
you've convinced yourself you can't do it, and you can't see through that. But every computer,
it's not that. I don't know any. I open that computer, I can't tell you what anything in there is.
Every computer can have a graphics card plugged in. The only time you have difficulties is with laptops, mate.
Yeah.
Some
but
Macs.
Don't you have a thing where you don't have enough power and you have to fart around and
what wattage is your power supply?
I have no idea. You're asking me a question. I have no idea.
My power supply is 1,000 watt fully modular power supply. So I can plug banks of cables in as I need them and draw power from it. So
the power supply in the
Retro says he had to buy 1,000 watt power supply for his last video card only because I didn't have the right number of the needed plugs for it. Yeah, exactly. That's why I've got a modular power supply in mine.
I've got no idea what's in that computer. I didn't build it, so I don't understand such things.
Yeah, it's one of those.
The thing is, if you know about it, it's easy. But if you don't know about it,
that's it. But again, I built that, so it's
well, you know what's going on. It's like somebody saying to me, just fix this motor, this car engine, take it apart, put it back together.
Yeah, what? But if you sent me down 15 synthesizers and said go and record John Michael Jarre, I'd look at that and go, yeah, right. I'd get there eventually, but again, it's out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, just if you're not familiar with it, you don't know.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
I'd be sitting there going, "Oh God, what do you mean you don't know ADSL? Come on!"
Exactly. So
FM synthesis is dead easy. Actually, no, it's not.
We're all good at things, so yeah.
Anyway,
we got baneblades on our benches, though, mate. That's the key.
Baneblade and some other things.
I suppose really we should go now because it's past, and we need to.
Yeah, you need to go and sort yourself out.
Yeah, I need to go and sit in the comfy chair and probably have a bit of a nap because I've been up since 9 a.m. yesterday
nap
morning.
Time
so
go and do it.
All right then, gang. So thanks for joining me and Fox for our inane drivel. It's been great fun. And we both look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yes.
So we will
Hopefully
see you next Wednesday for some more Workbench Live for our good friends up at eModels.co.uk. Your
one-stop shop for all your model making needs. Kajit says go by there.
He's good. He's really on the ball there, mate.
Kajit buys everything from eModels.
Catch you later, folks. Stay safe.
Adios, amoebas.
Bye.
Bye.